Death mode right now. We're gonna be killing off all the characters. I've already played through this once and kept all the characters alive. That was actually my blind playthrough of the game. But we're killing everybody now. It's gonna be fun. This is Chapter 1, Isabella's Path. Prologue. The Ermengarde Mansion. It was built for Lord William and Lady Elizabeth Ermengarde of Luxbourne, humble ambassadors of peace and beloved by their people. Both were well known for their compassion and generosity, never failing to extend a helping hand to anyone in need. Under their influence and wealth, what was once a small sleepy village grew to a prosperous and bustling town. However, the seasons of joy eventually ended when the good nobles perished at the hands of a great plague. Their riches and legacy were henceforth passed on to their only child, Lady Charlotte Ermengarde. Dots. The mansion has stood since the 1620s, a witness to the very long history of joy and pain. After Lady Charlotte committed suicide, the great house was eventually left uninhabited. And that is when it began. Surrounding villagers spoke of seeing and hearing unearthly things, of cries and howls that filled the night, and hearsays of a mysterious woman roaming the halls aimlessly. People who dared enter his walls were simply never heard from again. Even after 400 years, these stories remain, much like the house itself. Whispers about the once great house, its legend, and its curse still fall upon the villagers' ears. In spite of this, the current owners are convinced that these stories are nothing more than a hoax. With little regard for the truth, they had Briar Realty Corporation place the property back on sale. Like Pandora's box, the secrets that lie inside await to be discovered by brave souls. No matter what happens, take care not to be consumed by the curse. Dots. Good luck. Isabella.
Hello? Isabella? Are you there? Where are you?
Isabella? Maria Isabel Grace Cruz Santos, 26 years old, 5'2", estate agent, Filipino, Roman Catholic, fine arts graduate, third child among 7, daughter of a laundrywoman and jeepney driver. Her father is diagnosed with a terminal illness. She has moved away to the UK to make money. A familiar jittery voice comes from the other end.
Oh, hey Rose! I'm at St. Goretti High. What's the matter?
What do you mean, what's the matter? It's the mansion, silly. I'm here and you're late. Jeez, we're on shift together. You promised. Oh my god, please don't tell me you forgot. You were planning on leaving me to check this place out on my own, weren't you? You chickened out.
Calm down. You know I take my promises seriously.
I'd like to believe that. So hurry up and get here. This place is huge. A bit too quiet since no one's lived here since, like, forever, but beautiful nonetheless.
Why are you so surprised? This isn't the first time you've been there.
I know. I just wish I could live in a place like this. It really takes my breath away.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be so sure about that. Not after the rumors that say it's haunted.
Jeez, never mind those rumors. Ghosts aren't real after all. And even if they are, which they are not, they can't do anything. They're nothing but spirits.
You don't know that! They might be listening or watching right now, and they might not be happy with you enough to curse you.
No offense, sweetie, but that's a bit of a stretch.
Believe it or not, it's better to be careful.
Right. You know, not every property we sell will end up with a dead body stuffed in a sofa.
And I think that mansion is where we'll likely find another one. I can feel it.
That was one time, Isabella! Loosen up! Wait, just get here ASAP, please. I'm getting bored being here on my own.
Fine, fine. Let me just finish up here. I'll be right there soon.
Okay, see you. Bye.
She hangs up before I can respond. Rose, still charming as ever.
Who was that?
I look up from my phone to see Rebecca, Becca giving me a questioning look.
Oh, that? It's just Rose.
Rose? The one you said who trained you for your job back when you started? You're working together again?
Just for this property. We've been scoping out that big mansion down Anselm Village after the renovations. Today's sort of its grand opening to the public. The RC wants to give it one last check before we let potential buyers tour it this afternoon.
Oh, wait, mansion? That big spooky one you've been telling everyone about? Didn't you keep saying how it just gave you the creeps? You actually went there? And you're going back?
Well, I did promise Rose I wouldn't ditch her. And besides, a job is a job. Gotta do what you gotta do to make a living.
As soon as those words have left my mouth, Becca lets out a soft chuckle.
What's so funny?
Nothing. It's just that I didn't expect you to say that. Coming from you, it sounds so out of character. I mean, no offense, but you've been freaking out about the place being creepy ever since you got assigned to it. Cursed rumors and all. I honestly thought you'd back out.
Not all the time. I could really use a huge amount of cash right now, and this is just the fastest way to get it. Plus, listen to this. Briar Realty wants it sold as soon as possible, and the agent who lands the deal is going to get a huge bonus. They never give bonuses like that. Getting that would make life so much easier. They're desperate, I'm desperate, it's perfect.
A sympathetic look crosses her face.
You know, if you're really in urgent need of money, you could have just asked me, or Ashton. We can always let you borrow, and you can pay us back whenever.
I have to keep myself from groaning out loud. In the years I've known her, I can already tell what to expect when she has that expression.
Becca!
I've noticed that you've been living off instant noodles these past few weeks.
She crosses her arms and grimaces at the thought. Her voice slightly rises as she begins to scold me. Instantly, I'm reminded why Becca is excellent at her job teaching boisterous teenagers.
Stop eating junk! They're cheap, but they're not good for you. You'll definitely end up in the hospital if you keep at it.
Here we go again.
Hey! I eat other things too.
I fold my arms across my chest, mimicking her posture and giving her the best frown I can muster, the same one I use with my younger siblings when they're being difficult. Instead, she only raises an eyebrow at me.
That's not going to work on me. And I saw it when you were cleaning your flat last week. The instant noodle cups outnumber everything else.
You're just exaggerating. Did you even see what's in my cupboard yet? I'm not just living on instant noodles alone. I've got canned beans, peas, tuna, ham, and even hamburgers in there.
Becca's wrinkling her nose by the time I get to the end of the small list. I think she's even went a little green on the last one. Yeah. I would have laughed a little at that if I didn't know it would only lead to more reprimands from her.
Aren't those the same ones you won from the grocer's raffle more than a year ago?
Again, that's pretty disgusting.
Oh, I sincerely hope you're checking the date stamps on those things before eating them. I don't want a repeat of last year. In any case, those are still not exactly healthier choices, Belle.
She shakes her head, possibly laughing at some funny distant memory. When she looks up, I immediately brace myself. More words from her. Sometimes it's just better to let Becca talk until she's out of things to say. But when she turns her attention back to me, there's only warmth in her smile.
What am I going to do with you?
She says this more to herself than me, her voice shifting to something kind or even motherly if I'm looking for an exact word.
I hope you know that it's impossible not to worry about you when you're like this. You don't have to keep eating the same thing. I already told you before. You're always free to reheat food in my fridge.
Thanks, Becca. I really appreciate it, but you don't need to keep babying me. You've been taking care of me since after I moved here. You have to take a break sometime. And before you ask again, no. You know I'm not a fan of borrowing money. And I'm not going to ask you to give me what you earned hard for yourself.
You and your pride. But suit yourself. The offer stays on the table, though.
I nod in response, if only to get her to drop the topic. But I'm pretty certain I will never take that offer. Ever. It has nothing to do with pride. I've simply seen plenty of times how friendships can take a turn for the worse just because of a few unpaid debts. I don't want something like that to happen between me and Becca. We may argue about a lot of small petty things, but she already feels like a real sister to me. I don't want to lose that friendship over something so trivial. Becca, taking a quick glance at something behind me, probably the clock hanging above the notice board, snaps me out of my thoughts.
Well, enough chit-chat. Lunch is ending, and my students will be back any minute. We can catch up later. Good luck with your clients. You better treat us to lunch or something if you get that sale.
You bet!
With a small smile, she returns to her desk and begins sifting through the papers of a rather thick history textbook. She's probably working out her lesson plan for next week. Or trying to, at least. Her eyes are distant, and she doesn't seem too attentive to whatever is on the page. As if she heard my thoughts, Becca starts coughing heavily. Her hand hastily goes to her mouth to stifle the sounds. This is precisely why I followed her here in the first place. For someone who makes a habit out of worrying for other people, Becca sure forgets to take care of herself.
Hey, you sure you can manage on your own? I mean, you're still a bit feverish.
Hush, dear. Don't you worry about me. I'll just drink some medicine and I'll be right as rain.
I level her with a flat look. She has a cold for a couple days now. Something about the strange weather not agreeing with her lately. And despite my advice to take the week off and rest, I found her apartment empty when I dropped by this morning. She even left the medicine her doctor prescribed to her. Look who's being stubborn now.
You shouldn't even be working right now.
Seriously, you big baby. I'll be fine. For now, just go to work and stop making that Rose girl wait for you. I'll call you if I still feel bad, and you can come pick me up if it makes you feel any better.
She offers me a reassuring smile, and I can only sigh. Why do I even bother? There's no stopping her once she has decided on something. Defeated, I reach inside my bag to pull out the same bottle of medicine she left earlier. She looks at it warily when I place it in front of her. Unfortunately for her, this is one thing I'm not letting her have her way.
Alright, but don't forget what the doctor said. Drink this on time. I'll see you later, okay?
There's an amused gleam in her eyes when she shifts her gaze back to me.
Look who's playing the mother hen now.
Rebecca!
Okay. I won't tease anymore. I'll make sure to drink it, Mom.
Before I can retort, she casts another look at the clock. I take that as a sign to finally end the conversation and my short visit. With a wave of goodbye, I leave her alone in her classroom and to her thoughts. I hail a passing taxi to take me to the property as soon as I leave the school grounds. The mansion is some ways out in the countryside, but I don't have trouble giving the driver directions. Apparently, everyone in Luxburn City knows of it, including every bit of rumor surrounding the place. Just the mention of its name is enough for locals to give you cautious sidelong glances. I learned that the hard way the first time I commuted there, and it only boosted my belief that there's something more to the house. Even the news of it being renovated and placed back up in the market has caused quite a stir. Thankfully, it died down a few weeks later. The place would have become a lot harder to sell otherwise. I avert my eyes from the window as soon as the buildings shrink in the distance. We get a glimpse of the countryside soon, although a quick glance of my watch tells me we're still a few minutes away from our destination. Might as well get some work done. Rose did ask me to do some last-minute reviews of the mansion's documents yesterday. I already looked at them over last night, but you never know when things may go wrong. Life has ways of messing things up like that. Halfway through reading the papers, my phone rings again. I pick it up without looking, neatly tucking it between my ear and shoulder. It's probably just Rose again anyway.
Rose?
Guess again.
That voice.
Bingo.
Hey, what's up?
Just checking if you're still cool later this evening.
You mean that thing with Zach?
Yeah, you know the indie movie he's been working on for months? The premiere's going on tonight at a film fest, and he's really excited to watch it with us. He even called in the middle of the night just to remind me.
No, don't worry. I didn't forget. I'll be there.
Cool. I'll see you later. What time do you get off?
Around 6 p.m.? I don't know. It's the first day of the Ermengarde Mansion's open house, and we're expecting quite a number of potential buyers. I'll be booked the whole afternoon.
Ermengarde Mansion?
You know, the big Jacobean mansion at Anselm Village? I'm on my way there right now, actually.
On your own?
Yeah, well, Rose is already there, but yeah.
I see. Looks like the scaredy cat finally toughened up.
Shut up!
Ash chuckles from the other end, and I can't help but roll my eyes at him.
I'll see you later. Drop me a call when you're done. I'll see if I can pick you up.
Ashhole.
Whatever. Bye.
Stupid Ashhole, always teasing me whenever he sees a chance. I'll show him who's tough. It takes a few more minutes until I finally reach the Infinite's mansion. Before going to the Ermengarde mansion, Isabel Sanders dropped by St. Claudia High School to check on Rebecca Gales. The former reminded the latter to take her flu medicine before leaving. On the way to the mansion, Isabella received a phone call from Ash and Frey, reminding her of Zachary Steele's movie premiere that night. I have to admit, the entire property does look wonderful from the outside. It's beautifully situated in the middle of a vast open field with several lush green trees dotting the immediate vicinity that converges in a small woodlands nearby. Yet, despite all of this, it does nothing to hide that something is just wrong. The surrounding area is unusually silent, and the only rustling of the leaves can be heard as the occasional breeze passes. While in some villages just a few miles away, everybody keeps their distance on purpose. Perhaps out of fear, horrified at the thought of falling under the mansion's curse. Somehow it makes me feel sad. The lack of immediate human presence just makes this place all the more eerie than it already has any right to be. If it's uncanny in broad daylight, I can't imagine how this place is going to be at
Are you
night.
planning to go inside that place, Missy?
So what if I am? The voice nearby makes me jump out of my skin. Without completely taking my eyes away from the house, I give the driver a confused nod. A beat passes while I wait for him to say more, but his only answer is a non-committal hum in return of my nod. Belatedly, it occurs to me that he must have been waiting for my payment. I mentally slap myself for spacing out and promptly hand him the fare with an apologetic look. I expected him to leave as soon as I paid, but there's a hesitant expression on his face as if something hasn't been said yet.
Is there something wrong?
Look, Missy, I'm sure you've heard what the people are telling everyone about that place. Nobody likes to be disturbed when they're at peace. And I'm pretty sure whatever they say is in their house. Doesn't want to either. I admit they did a good job fixing it up. But there must have been a reason why even distant relatives of the family who used to own the house never lived in there despite inheriting it. No wonder they wanted to get rid of it.
Maybe they just didn't like it?
You never know.
He drives off after, but what he said has left a foreboding feeling in my gut. I breathe out a heavy sigh as I make my approach toward the house. After hearing enough of the rumors, I should have expected the conversation to take that turn. But I'm already here. Backing out is completely out of the question. It isn't like I have any choice in the matter anyway. If I wanted to get that bonus in commission, one way or another, I've got to sell this property. The door is ajar when I get to it, however, and my own copy of the keys dangle in my hands, now useless. Rose must have left it open when she arrived. That's weird. We may be the only people here this early, but I've never known her as someone careless. Entering, what greets me inside leaves me gaping. They've cleaned every corner, waxed the floor, dusted the antiques, searched every nook, cranny, and crevice, made it spick and span. All for the sake of making the mansion more enticing to the modern-day lords and ladies. But no matter how hard they try, the mansion still looks as soulless as ever, as though it's going to eat you alive. If you ask me, they should have just listened to what other people have been telling them and leave this place alone. Some things in the world are better left in peace, never to be disturbed ever again.
Rose?
I call out.
Rose, I'm here. Where are you?
My voice echoes softly throughout the hallways. Dots. Oh, who am I kidding? In a place this big, I don't think she'll ever hear me, no matter how deafening the silence is. She could be all the way on the other side of the property, for all I know. Quickly, I reach for my phone and dial her number, but...
The number you have dialed has not been recognized. Please check and try again.
What do you mean, has not been recognized? We were just talking a while ago. It's not like she was eaten by the house, right? Or maybe the ghost did hear us talking and spirited her away, right? Right? Dots. No, Isabella, don't be ridiculous. She probably just wandered deeper into the house and lost signal or something. I dial her number again, hoping to connect this time.
The number you have dialed has not been recognized. Please check and try again.
But to no avail. Oh boy. I have a very bad feeling about this.
Rose? If you can hear me, please come out. Come on, Rose. This isn't funny. You know this place gives me the creeps.
No answer. This isn't going to work. The place is so big, she can be anywhere. I need to start looking for her. I take a deep breath before venturing deeper into the mansion. Taking a couple steps forward, I know something moved by the hallway above the grandest staircase.
What the hell? Rose? Rose, is that you? Not funny. I'm leaving you if you don't come out. Not coming out, huh?
Fine, I'm going.
Okay, that is a lie. She's my friend. I can't really leave until I know she's alright. Growing desperate, I make another attempt in order to reach her number. Come on, please, give me something. Please, Lord. Dots. Yes, finally.
Hello? Hello? Rose, I'm here at the mansion. Where the hell are you?
She doesn't respond. There's also heavy static coming from her side. I sincerely hope it doesn't get caught out again before I can get an answer from her.
Rose, come on. Where are you?
A few moments pass until the static eventually starts to quiet down.
What? The attic? Why?
Crap, it got cut off. Man, do I really need to go there? With how deep inside the mansion the attic is, there's barely any signal there. No wonder I can't contact her. But why is she there? Out of all places, she just has to make me go fetch her in the creepiest room of this place. Is she doing this to get back at me for being late? Whatever, I'll just go. The sooner I meet up with her, the sooner I'll feel better about being here. I carefully make my way up the staircase. My legs wobble as I mentally curse the fact that I've chosen real estate instead of picking a career that doesn't involve strange abandoned houses. Upon reaching the top, the grand hallway greets me. It branches out to two major wings of the mansion, the east and the west wing. There are 2 attics here, one on each side, but the east one has been converted to a storage room of sorts, and somehow I find it the least likely for Rose to wander there by herself. Besides, she never did like going to stuffy storage rooms, so I head toward the west wing first, where a simple wooden door at the end of the hall opens a small room. Inside is another set of steps leading to the second attic. Unlike the grand staircase, though, the stairs to the attic are steep and narrow, made of old stones and covered with a thick coating of dust that kicks up into the air with my every step. Thank God it's still daytime. If it isn't for the light streaming through the door behind me, I may easily stumble and fall. With how old the place is, there are no light fixtures to illuminate the cramped passage up. Why they didn't bother to add one here when they renovated it escapes me. Sheesh, they did it with the rest of the house. The small bedroom welcomes me at the end. It looks exactly as it did the last time I've been here, full of dust, worn out, and faded by the time. Odd, I thought they cleaned everything. Did the crew miss this room? Oh, cleanliness is the least of my concerns right now. The more pressing matter is Rose. She's not here. Was I dreaming when I talked to her a while ago? Did I mishear her? No, it couldn't have been a dream. After all, the creepy ambience of the estate is doing a remarkable job of making sure I stay alert and awake. And I'm sure she said she's here in the attic. Is this a prank? Or maybe that phone call was Rose's last message to me before the curse got to her. Ugh, shut up, brain. You aren't helping. Don't make this scarier than it already is. But if she's not here, then where is she? Dots. What the hell was that? Dots. That's it. I can't do this anymore. I'm leaving. We must have angered the spirits living here. I knew disturbing this mansion was a bad idea right from the very start. But nobody listened. Be fucking realistic, they said. They think I'm cuckoo because I believe in curses and all that. Me and my outlandish backwater country beliefs. I've always strived to be a model employee, but this time, no. I'm turning back for the sake of my sanity. Briar Realty can find another agent who is more fucking realistic to tour people around this haunted house. Before leaving, I take one last look at the gloomy old room, just to check.
Huh? What's this?
My worries about Rose's whereabouts must have caused me to miss it when I first entered the room. But there's clearly something on the floor. It looks like...
A letter?
Lying on the ground just a couple inches away from my feet. Out of sheer curiosity, I lean down and pick it up. Strange. I don't recall seeing this the last time I was here. A few days back, me and a few other agents inspected the mansion to prepare for today. I had been the last to look inside the attic and leave, and this certainly hasn't been here before. Someone must have left in the room since then. Did Rose leave this for me? Was she here a while ago? I can't have missed her, though, can I? There's only one set of stairs to and from the attic. This letter isn't exactly in pristine condition. In fact, it looks rather ancient. The paper is so thin and rough, I'm worried it'll fall apart if I so much as touch it. With great care, I open it, and what I read shakes me to my core.
What? Oh my god.
Nothing but the words "help me" fills the page, all of it seemingly written with a crimson shaded pen. Or blood. I gulp. The same phrase just goes on until... Send this to 5 people or else.
Send this to 5 people or else. Or else what? Or else what?
As quickly as I can, I scan the back of the paper and peek into the envelope just to make sure I'm not missing out on a second page. But there's nothing.
Oh, please, no.
My hands tremble as dread creeps over me. The room is suddenly getting colder. I need to get out of here. Folding the paper in half, the sight that greets me next has me frozen on the spot. A pair of blood-soaked feet enters my field of vision, covered in gaping wounds with skin eaten away to reveal flesh and bone and all manner of things one isn't meant to see. It's too much. All of it is too much. I want to cry, call for help, but the words catch in my throat, even my feet won't move, completely paralyzed out of terror. Lord, please help me. We're gonna be brave and look up. I need to face it. Whatever these feet belong to, I need to face it. And if I'm going to die, if they're gonna kill me, at least I'll know what my killer looks like. A cold comfort. So, with a deep breath, I summon every ounce of courage I have left me and shift my gaze upward. And...
Please, don't hurt me.
Mrs. Spooks.
No!
Without thinking, I scramble toward the door. I struggle to open it, but it won't budge.
Stay away! Go away! Please, Lord! Make it go away!
Why now? Why won't it open now? My heart sinks as reality dawns in. I'm locked in. Locked in with that thing.
Let me out! Let me out! Lord, please, let me out!
It slowly approaches me as I wrench the doorknob violently back and forth. Yes. Yes! The door finally swings open, and I couldn't have been happier. Wasting no time, I leap at the door and don't look back. My feet pound against the floor in rhythm with the loud, fast beating of my heart. By the time I run past the hallway and find myself atop the grand staircase, my chest feels so tight like it's going to burst. But that's nothing compared to the feeling of hope the sight of the exit gives me. Racing down the stairs, a breathy laugh escapes me and my shoe slips and I find myself falling until my back hits the ground and my pain racks my body. My head grows fuzzy and my vision dims as I fight to stay conscious.
Go away.
The last thing I see are those feet before all I know is darkness. While looking for a missing co-agent, Isabella Santos found a mysterious letter in the Ermengarde Mansion's attic. Driven by fear by what she read inside, thinking the place is cursed at worst, she hurried to leave the place only to meet... dots.
Write off your loss, send letters goodbye. I won't forget you, though your life fades away as I wither in this world filled with regret. Hold my hand and leave. Please don't leave me be. In these bloody halls where we shed all our tears, the darkness reigns, our memories alone remain. I reach out beyond the curtain black. I'm in too deep, so this letter I write. I want to be free, together by your side. I'll spend eternity in this lonely place we call home.
A buzz breaks the silence. I start to rouse, pulled into consciousness against my own will. I have never felt this tired before. I just want to sleep, but the insistent buzzing, poking, and prodding isn't letting me. My old mattress may not be the comfiest of places, but that doesn't make me any more eager to wake up.
5 more minutes, Becca.
I swat away at Wiz nudging persistently at my side. Come on, can't I just get a few extra minutes of sleep today? I promise I'll work hard once I'm up. My hand lightly taps my cheek, and something cold is suddenly being pressed at the back of my head. The icy sensation slowly spreads throughout the area, giving me an uncomfortable feeling.
Isabella? Can you hear me? Isabella?
The fog of unconsciousness immediately lifts me from my mind the moment I recognize the voice, and my eyes snap open. There, looking down at me, is Rose. Another woman loiters beside her, but my attention is too focused on my co-agent to even ask why there's someone else with her. Rose's posture just screams worry, although she is keeping a straight face, or trying at least. I can't help but feel bad for making her fret. A wave of dizziness washes over me as soon as I try to get up, forcing me to lie back down again. Luckily, it subsides after a few seconds until only a mild throbbing somewhere at the back of my head remains. With little assistance from Rose, I push myself upright. She hands me an ice pack and gestures for me to press it where I suspect a small bump has already formed, if the light ache in my area is an indication.
Alright, Isabella, where are we?
The Ermengarde Mansion. Why? Ow, my head.
And the date today?
October 21st? Rose.
Last one. Can you count to 15 in reverse order?
15, 14, 13, 12, no. That's wrong. Why are we doing this?
She's just checking to see if your injury is in any way serious.
This time, I curiously regard the woman standing beside Rose. It's impossible to overlook her. What with the way she towers over us? And here I thought Rose was already tall. Who is she anyway? One of the main cleaning crews? But with how primly dressed she is, I don't think anyone will want to clean in a suit, and an expensive suit at that. The gloves alone must have already cost a fortune. Her eyes slowly shift between me and Rose, considering us with almost an unreadable expression before finally fixing a sharp gaze on me. I can't help but fold my arms protectively over myself as she does so. She may be far from a cleaning crew, but she certainly looks like my supervisor during evaluation days.
Just do it, please.
I eyed them both warily, but recite everything as she asked. Rose releases a breath of relief once I'm done.
You scared me for a moment there. I was about to call for an ambulance when you started stirring. Are you alright?
Exasperation soon replaces the dull ache. The memory's a little fuzzy, but the headache and...
There was someone, Rose. In the attic.
Someone? You mean a client? Oh, that's unlikely. It's probably just one of the cleaning crews. The boss sent a few of them back this morning for some last minute—
No, not any of those. They're, I'm not actually sure. Wait, didn't I call you? You said you were in the attic when you answered. That's why I went there in the first place.
Both Rose and the lady look at me like I've just grown another head. Did I say something weird? Rose casts an apologetic smile, though, and beside her before the awkward silence stretches on further. It's her saleswoman smile, the same one she taught me back when I was still a trainee. I should show this to troublesome clients, or just to avoid trouble in general, she advised. It's also the one she gives me when I've done something particularly absurd that may cause us to lose a potential sale. Her eyes are serious when she turns back to me. She takes both of my shoulders, gently squeezes in, and with as much patience she can muster.
As much as I'd love to have gotten at least a heads up of your arrival, I didn't really get a call from you. You know, signal here is absolutely horrendous. I was in the garden earlier and couldn't even make a single call. Isabella, I'm going to ask again. Are you really alright? What happened?
I don't know. It's all a bit blurry. I remember I was looking for you, but you weren't in the attic. And there's... whoever it is. Then I must have tripped on a rug or something on the way down. Oh no. Do you think someone came in while you were out? You left the main door open. We are so going to get into big trouble if something gets stolen, Rose.
Perhaps it is a concussion.
Are you sure you feel fine? We could still call for an ambulance. I could cover for you.
No, I'm fine. I'm okay, Rose. I can work.
Wait. Hold your horses, Rose. I can't just miss an important sale because of a minor bump in the head. An extremely minor bump. I've had worse when I was a kid. This is nothing.
Besides, if I leave, you'll have to shoulder everything in the open house. Alone. And in a mansion this big?
Well, there's also the part where I may lose that bonus BRC promise, but that's completely beside the point. Rose gives me a skeptical look when I return the cold compressed to her and push myself off the floor. I have to use the staircase's railings to steady myself, but otherwise I feel fine.
See? I'm A-okay.
The two of them exchange a worried glance, and Rose assumes a contemplative look. I bite my lower lip in anticipation. If she says no...
Right, you in.
A smile threatens to slip out
But
from
if
me.
I see that you aren't feeling well, I'm taking you personally to the nearest clinic to have you checked. Clear?
Clear as day, ma'am. Thanks, Rose.
You insisted. But remember what I said. First sign of you looking not okay, and we're off. No questions asked.
It's just a small bump. Don't worry.
You shouldn't downplay these kinds of things. It could be a serious injury for all we know.
Suddenly, a small cough sounds against the walls of the foyer, interrupting our banter. The woman is looking expectantly at the two of us, her stare making me shrink back a little myself. She isn't really intimidating. Dots. Well, she is. But not in the scary negative way. Far from it, actually. Her demeanor simply commands an air of sophistication and respect. In a different world, a younger me would probably have wished to be like her. She coughs again, lifting a well-trimmed eyebrow at me in question. Words get caught in my tongue, and Rose, as usual, is swift to catch my own blunders.
My sincerest apologies, Mrs.
Miss McCulloch. Marianne McCulloch.
She hands Rose her business card. The words interior design catch my eyes before my partner flips it over. Oh, probably someone interested in the mansion for its 17th century influences then. I won't hold her against it, though. Despite the hearsayings and remaining inhabited for years, the mansion's original fittings and furniture have been kept completely intact and restored pristine condition. I suppose some people find that trip to the past feeling appealing? After all, with what it offers, this place is a definite haven for people looking to live somewhere with a classic historical charm.
Miss McCullough, I'm Rose Cooper, and this is my partner, Isabella Santos. We're just ironing out a few things, but we'll be starting the tour soon enough. In the meantime, we've prepared some refreshments for you in the parlor while you're waiting. If you could please...
Thanks. There's no need for it, though. I just dropped by for a quick survey of the place. I thought I should check the estate before I meet with the homeowners.
The confused look on Rose's face is impossible to miss when she glances at me. I return it with an equally perplexed look. And against my better judgment, I blurt out the first question that comes to mind.
I'm sorry. Homeowners?
I should have kept my mouth shut. A flash of irritation crosses her face, but it instantly disappears under a mask of professional detachment.
Yes. Hannah Wright? I was hired by her to handle the interior design for their newly bought home. This is the Ermengarde mansion, right?
It is, but
She pauses, possibly trying to find the right words to fix the awkward situation without offending someone. Rose nudges me with her elbow. Those few moments have given me enough time to clear my head of any nervousness or confusion clouding with it.
It is, ma'am, but we weren't aware the mansion has already been sold.
What do you mean?
I almost flinch when she turns her gaze on me, but I stand my ground. Besides, it isn't like I haven't dealt with awkward situations like this before. I may screw up at times, but that doesn't mean I haven't learned a thing or two in the 5 years I've worked in the
The
business.
mansion is indeed for sale, ma'am. Today's the open house, in fact. However, we haven't heard anything from the higher-ups that a deal has already been closed for this particular property. If you'd like, my co-agent and me can check with them right now.
She nods, seemingly in deep thought after I've finished. She appears to be a reasonable person anyway. Given the proper explanation, she'll likely
I
understand.
thought something looked odd when I arrived here. Excuse me, I think I need to make a call to my secretary. Thank you for your assistance, Miss Santo.
With a slight wave of her hand, she leaves us, presumably to double-check with someone on her side. That seems to be the end of it. Both Rose and I breathe a sigh of relief. Disaster averted. I also don't miss the thumbs up she gives me for doing a good job, and I can't help but swell with pride. Still, I've already prepared myself to dial the number to our Luxborn office and check, even if she didn't ask for it. I will be very frustrated if, for some reason, an agreement has already been decided without my or Rose's knowledge. That's a whole new level of unfair. We've been working hard on this. Moments later, Miss McCullough returns, looking a little flustered, but an apology clear in her face. I feel a little sorry for her having to go through all this trouble.
There seems to have been a little misunderstanding with my client. If you'll allow it, I'd like to stay and wait for them here. I was informed they'll be dropping by for the open house today. I figured it'd be a waste to just leave after that long drive.
certainly. You could stay at the parlor in the meantime, ma'am. I'm sure it won't be long before our guests arrive. And, Isabella, I left a few documents in my car. You know where I keep those. Can you please get it for me?
Rose takes a glance at her wristwatch before tossing me a set of
And
keys.
hurry! We've still got a few minutes to double-check those papers.
Okay, got it. Give me a few minutes.
The two of them disappear behind the parlor's door. Their departure brings with it a hushed stillness to keep me company, neither comforting nor soothing. Rose Cooper, along with the woman who introduced herself as Marion McCullough, found Isabel Santos lying unconscious in the mansion's foyer before the open house start. Unable to recall what happened prior, Isabella insisted on working despite her co-agent's worries about her well-being. This alone, it's impossible to not think of what truly happened earlier. I wish the memory as elusive as it normally is. Then again, Rose already said she didn't receive any call from me. Was it just my paranoia at work, a temporary lapse in my own mind after having heard all those tales about this place? Probably. I want to think of it as such, better to think of it as such, so I can work in peace. Except a small part of my mind begins to differ, and if I'm going to be completely honest with myself, I want nothing more than to leave this place as soon as possible. I don't know what's in this house, and I don't want to know. The keys Rose have just handed me dig into my palm, its jagged edges creating shallow ridges on my skin from how hard I am clutching it. It's a cursory reminder of what I still need to do and why I've taken this job in the first place. Hugging my blazer closer to my body, I exit the house to get what Rose has asked of me. Just a few more hours, Isabella. Sell the house, get the money. A flock of people have already gathered in the mansion's front yard by the time we officially open the doors. I'm not sure whether I should feel battered or underdressed standing in their presence. Men and women of wealth and status, all dressed in the nines in fancy suits and lovely dresses of varying colors, compose the medium-sized crowd. Their necks, arms, and fingers are adorned with silver and gold, glinting in the afternoon sun. Some even have ridiculously fancy feathered hats on their heads. I really hope there aren't any magpies living nearby, like in the stories. Those birds will have a field day in this. They are murmuring among themselves, looking at the estate's facade appraisingly, with some arguing about whose mansion has the superior architecture. But most of it stops as Rose calls for their attention. They don't look too pleased at being ordered around, but what can they do about it?
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Rose Cooper, and this is my partner, Isabella Santos. We'll be taking a tour of the mansion in 2 groups. Please make sure you filled up our sign-in forms before joining a specific group.
Those who want to look around the first floor, please follow my partner. I'll be guiding the ones who wish to see the ground floor.
Hearing this, a few wander towards me. They are mostly older ladies who seem daunted at the idea of climbing all those stairs. Miss McCullough also joins our group, but what really catches my eye is the elegantly dressed pair as she approaches.
It's so nice to finally meet you! When Chief Inspector Lee mentioned that a famous interior designer is in town, I knew I had to get you!
Your confidence in my skills is very flattering, ma'am.
I'm sure you won't disappoint, Marianne.
Oh, you know each other?
Not at all, ma'am.
You mentioned something about a Marianne on our way here, darling?
Oh, yes, I think I did.
They must be the client she was talking about. I might have seen their faces somewhere before, some magazine or the television, I can't quite remember. But then again, most of our guests have likely ended up on the news one way or another. I won't be surprised if these two have too. For people who are popular though, they aren't dressed as loudly as the others, and in their simplicity, the couple stands out. The woman in particular is stunning enough to turn the heads of most people in my group, especially the men with wandering eyes. The guy standing beside her doesn't seem to mind though, and if I'm going to be a bit bolder with my assumptions, I say he's basking in the attention. Both of them, in fact, peas in a pod. I think they're brother and sister if it isn't for their public display of affection. The matching rings on their fingers can submit that the fact that they are indeed a couple. Whatever. A couple or not, what's important is we get this deal closed before the current owners can even think of canceling the listing agreement. I just hope one of the people in my or Riz's group is brave and generous enough to buy this mansion. And so, with papers in hand, I lead the way. When they aren't whispering among themselves or going ooh and ah over one thing or another, they ask questions. Today marked the open house of the infamous Armagard Mansion open to the public for the first time in years. Luxmorn's most esteemed and prominent personalities gathered to catch a glimpse of the 17th century property, including Luxmorn's most well-known couple, Luke and Hannah Wright. From how the restoration process went to the history of the place, I answer them all, more than happy to talk about the art pieces and architecture mostly. However, I am careful not to mention anything about the urban legends. Not a good material for sales talk, even if the entire population of Luxmorn knows about it.
Some of the furnishings here are actually the 17th century originals, all of which have undergone a painstaking restoration process just to return its original beauty. Even the glass thing, colorful ones. Oh, I don't know, but you get the idea, I hope. Especially that one, ma'am. It is said to be a gift commissioned by the fiancé of Lady Charlotte Ermengarde. The mansion's current owners have specifically requested that the restoration crew take great care in handling it. It's a priceless work of art and the most distinctive feature of the mansion.
Beautiful glass-stained window. By the time I stop talking, her attention is already elsewhere.
Isn't this place wonderful, darling? I told you it's not a total waste of your time.
I don't know. Isn't it a bit too small? We might have to break a wall down to have more room.
Well, I think it is just right. Don't you think so, Marianne?
It is splendid, ma'am, but isn't it a little too early to make plans when no deal has been signed yet?
Never mind that. It isn't going to be a problem. We've got a wonderful legal team to handle everything. Start taking notes, though. I think I've got a few things I want changed before we move in.
The rest of their conversation gets lost in the chatter of our other companions. I don't want to make any assumptions yet, but their sheer interest is enough to give me some semblance of hope. Oh, please, please, please let these guys be the one. Eventually, our group reaches the kitchen. Much like the rest of the house, a great deal of effort has been put into retaining the room's classical appeal. The open hearth at the end of the room in particular looks amazing, like the ones I only see in fairy tale books before. And meant props to the Korean crew. Seriously, after overhearing hundreds of their complaints about the soot and tar staining the bricks, about how much of a pain in the arse cleaning this will be, they still managed to pull this off, or make it look presentable at least.
The highlight of the room, however, is what's underneath this hatch here.
Oh, don't say anything yet! An underground wine cellar!
This is the first time the guy in gray speaks up. Mr. Luke Wright, my memory supplies from the forms they signed earlier. His sudden attentiveness catches me off guard. Since the start of the tour, only his wife has shown any form of genuine interest in the place. But at this time, something lights up in his eyes at the mention of the Undercroft. What's so interesting about a basement? I really don't understand rich people sometimes. Right now, he just gives me the impression of a child who has just seen what he absolutely wants for Christmas. I've always found it cute whenever I see children act that way, my younger siblings especially. On a grown man, it's almost funny.
Yes, sir. It could house around 7,000 to 11,000 bottles of wine.
Truly? And the room? How was it built?
The bricks that were used to build the cellar have been carefully picked for the purpose of maintaining and preserving a constant temperature and humidity in the room. It's a good place to keep your private collection in if you have one, sir.
It keeps the corks in good condition.
Oh, love.
Didn't you say before that you wanted to make your own personal vineyard? Perhaps you could start one here.
You know we're going to need space for that, darling.
And this isn't big enough?
If it's space you're worried about, sir, the Ermengarde mansion sits on a 46-acre lot. There's plenty of room for it. We were told that the original owners had a horse stable built here before, too.
There's a contemplative expression on Mr. Wright's face, but he doesn't say anything further. His wife, however, seems really pleased that he has started to show interest, if only a little. I smiled to myself. I may not have completely understood how these people's minds work, but I sure as hell knew how to spot a buyer with sincere interest. Score! I can't wait to tell Rose. The rest of the tour goes by without a hitch. After more than half an hour, we're able to cover almost every room in the ground floor and are heading to the parlor. Funny, the first time we surveyed this property, I kept complaining to Rose how big it is. Now I can't even bring myself to care no matter how much my feet hurt. Maybe this is just my excitement over a prospective sale? When we reach the parlor, however, an odd feeling washes over me. It starts off as a small goosebumps on my skin, a feeling of being watched intently. Whispers in my ear and shadows dancing, lurking in the corner of my vision. Dark silhouettes that are gone when I turn to look to see what it is. A chill that settles down my spine, making me feel sick, and I start to break out into a cold sweat. I can't do this. I need to sit down for a moment. The old ladies in the group have been requesting for a break anyway. If I can just...
Excuse me? Everyone? We will be taking a 15-minute rest here before we visit the first floor. In the meantime, please help yourselves to the refreshments and snacks we've prepared. If anyone has any questions, feel free to approach me. I'd be happy to help you.
I let them sit while I retreat to a quiet corner to recover. It's not what you think. Don't think about it. It's not what you think. I probably just caught Becca's cold. Don't think about it. I'm left alone for a good while, while the same words spilling out of my lips in silent prayer, until a hand taps my shoulder.
Hello, you there?
Yes, ma'am?
Oh, look at you. Having to show a group around a mansion this big must be exhausting.
Not a problem, ma'am. I'm just doing my job.
What a hard worker. Anyway, Isabel, right?
Isabella, actually. But yes, what can I help you with, ma'am, right?
Please, just Hannah. Call me Hannah. I just wanted to ask, how soon are we able to move in?
My brain completely stops. The sick feeling plaguing me is suddenly gone, replaced by utter bewilderment. Is she being serious? She looks at me expectantly as I struggle to come up with an answer.
Wait, ma'am, you see, but we haven't even negotiated a price yet, ma'am. We haven't even finished touring the rest of the mansion. A sale would be great and all.
She stops me from speaking any further, putting a hand on my shoulder. For a moment, with her tight smile, she looks as if she had tasted a particularly sour lemon.
Oh, please, sweetie, don't insult me. Money is not a problem. And, just between you and me, this place is better off with us than with some old lady who'll probably just fill it up with cats.
I personally don't think there's anything wrong with having cats here, ma'am Hannah. I'm sure there's more than enough space here if you want pets.
Perhaps I'm still not feeling well, but really, what's wrong with cats? More importantly, why is she talking about moving in already?
Well, I'm more of a dog person, but you see, this is going to be a gift to my darling. It's going to be our anniversary soon, and it would be so wonderful if you can secure its purchase for us. Why, I can even offer something extra if you help us out with the paperwork.
We actually have a process for this, ma'am. I don't really think that would be necessary or appropriate.
And just what are you two lovely ladies talking about here? Leaving me and our lovely interior designer to talk here by ourselves. What would the people think, darling?
Oh, it's just small talk, love. I was asking if she could help me with the paperwork.
I struggle not to wince when her nails dig into my shoulder. I can't help but send an imploring look at Miss McCullough, who only gives me an apologetic smile and shrug.
Yeah, I can give you a fact sheet and a form to fill out.
She wastes no time in taking the papers from my hand and shuffles through the bunch. Oh man, Rose is going to be so angry at me for letting her do that.
Wonderful. And Marianne, I'd really love to talk to you about those changes. You took some notes earlier, yes?
I did, Mom. But I really hope that this time...
Excellent. Hopefully you can help us out too, Isabel.
Isabella.
Right. It's a lovely name, Isabel.
It's Isabella.
Yes, that's great. We'll be more than happy to put in a good word to your superiors too, and what's this?
A look of confusion and disgust is apparent on their face. Turning to her husband, he merely shrugs in reply.
That's, an interesting work of art. Not to my taste, though. I'm sorry.
Darling, Buttercup, art is a complete overstatement for this garbage. It looks like a cheap prop from a D-list horror film.
Shush, love. Let the girl do what she pleases with, what do they call this? Oh, forget about it. At the very least, it's not as dreadful as the one art exhibit I was forced to attend last month. You should have seen it, Marianne. Even you would have been appalled. But I'm sure you'll know what to do with all walls once we get started.
I highly doubt it is as bad as you say, ma'am. Nevertheless, you can be assured that my team will only pick whatever suits your tastes. Nothing of this chain letter sort, of course. It has to always work with a palette.
I'm quite sure chain letters these days don't come in this form.
It's my turn to be puzzled. What do they mean? Rose and I double-checked everything earlier. Are the papers I handed not enough? I want to ask what I did wrong. I don't want to mess this up. But with the way Ma'am Hannah's leading the conversation, I'm afraid that's exactly what will happen if I do interrupt her.
That's good to hear. See, darling, isn't she an absolute delight to work with? I can't wait to see how this place will look when she's done with it.
Oh, you don't have to tell me that, Buttercup.
A smile is back on her lips when she turns to me and hands me a strange piece of paper.
I would still put it away if I were you, though. Otherwise, people might get the wrong impression. Anyway, as I was saying...
I don't hear the rest of what she says after that. I can only stare down at the paper, at the letter in my hands. The sides crinkle my grip and my breathing goes labored. Dread quickly fills my mind.
Isabella? Are you alright? You're looking pale.
I don't even notice when Rose, as well as the other group touring the mansion, joins us in the parlor. I want nothing more than to say that, no, I'm not alright. I want to leave this place, because I remember everything as clear as day. This letter and that woman in the attic. It's real.
Letter. I'm sorry, I didn't know.
Careless, I've been so careless. How do I even tell them without looking like I've gone mad? Should I even tell them?
Rose,
The words are stuck in my throat. I want to tell her, I really do. But is she going to believe me? She already dismissed me earlier. It's a concussion, she said. It's not. There really is something in this house, in that attic, in that letter. It's going to go after us. Please, believe me.
Dear me. Is Isabella alright?
Ma'am Hannah's voice breaks through the haze, beginning to cloud my mind. Rose is looking down on me, worry etched on her features. I don't even notice when she has removed the wrinkled paper from my hands and has pushed me to sit down on a nearby chair. From the edge of my vision, I can also make out Miss McCall asking a passing food server for a glass of water. Mr. Wright stands on the sidelines, although curious, he appears much more inclined to watch the scene than help. They are all as likely to believe me as Rose does. To everyone, whatever's in this house is just a hoax, a cautionary tale for children.
Isabella, do you need me to call that ambulance?
She offers me a drink, but I push it away. I need to get out of here before I cause an even bigger commotion, clear my head, take a breath of fresh air. Anything to take my mind off things. No one is going to believe me anyway.
No, I'm just feeling a bit out of it. Excuse me. I'll be back. I just need to catch my breath.
Bowing my head, I mutter a quick apology and gather my stuff to make a quick exit. It doesn't matter if this place is haunted or not. I've caused enough trouble, and Rose can be quite unforgiving of behavior like this. I'm almost at the door of the parlor when she catches up to me.
Isabella, wait!
The apprehension must have been quite obvious on my face because her expression instantly shifts to something gentler. Eyes softer, a fond smile spreading on her lips.
Hey, I'm not angry.
I know. I'm sorry I ruined this for you.
Come on, you didn't ruin anything. It's not like we haven't ran into any problems before. If we don't get a deal today, we can always try on a different day. And look.
She hesitates, completely trailing off before shifting her gaze down to her hands, a small gesture to stall. Her fingers are fiddling with a piece of folded paper. It's that stupid letter again. My hands stiffen when she gives it back, but I take it nevertheless, more as an automatic response than any desire to have it back. I'll throw it away if I can. But I have this nagging feeling that, one way or another, it'll find its way back to me, regardless of what I do about
Rose, this is... You have to let them know about...
I know you want us to get this sale so badly. And we've made a lot of plans on how to go about this. I mean, who wouldn't? This is the first time I've been assigned to a property like this. I've sold plenty of houses before, but nothing like what we have here. It's a beautiful house. I'd love to get one of my own if I ever win the lottery. But I think... Look, here's the thing, Isabella. If we are going to do this, work on something, I don't know, this big, I need you in top shape. And the way you are now...
My mind stops.
Wait, no, I can still work. I just need to get myself together.
That's what you said earlier. I let it go because I thought, hey, it's your own body and you should know more than anyone how you feel. But after this, I really think you should take a break.
You're kicking me out?
No, I'm not. Look, all I'm asking is for you to take a seat somewhere. I can see you, and let me handle this for now. You're clearly not yourself, and I honestly could use some time not worrying when you'll fall over or not. The day's not even over, and I'm already feeling the stress. Please, humor me just this once.
She clasps her hands together in front of her, her eyes pleading for understanding, and I do understand, to some extent. That doesn't mean I'll feel any less awful. Whether I'm myself at the unlucky turn of situation or it's taken or for her, I don't really know.
I promise I'll give you a full report of what happens after. I'll even let you take the lead tomorrow.
Fine. Okay. I'll step aside for now.
You're upset.
A little, yeah, obviously.
If it's any consolation, I won't tell the boss about today. You know how he is.
Please don't. I don't want a repeat of the lecture I got during my first assignment. He called me a noob. And I don't even know what that means!
At the memory, she dissolves into helpless giggles, which I also join in, earning a strange looks from the guests milling about the door. Talking and laughing like this, it's easy to forget any mishaps that have happened. Little things you learn to appreciate, I guess.
So, are we good?
I'm still not okay with it, but Rose has a point. It's better for me to step out of this one for now.
I won't be able to help you anyways if I keep getting distracted like this.
Please, just stay put. I insist.
I'm not an invalid, Rose.
You clearly have not seen how you looked earlier.
It's not that bad.
Color hasn't even returned to your cheeks yet. Let me finish what I'm doing here, and then I'll take you back to Luxembourg myself to have that minor bump checked. At least wait for me to call someone who'll fetch you, okay?
She's gone before I can voice one word of complaint. Left with nothing else to do, I find myself drifting back to the foyer. A few visitors linger in the area, some merely enjoying the afternoon sunlight streaming through their stained glass windows. Others can be seen admiring the priceless antiques decorating the room. One group of elderlies, gathered some ways opposite of me, is occupied in friendly banter about which one will cost more to buy. A little argument here and occasional laughter and teasing there. I smile to myself. The conversation reminds me of what I've been missing these past few months. Rose is probably right. I do need a break. Maybe this afternoon's hangout will help. Speaking of, I should call Ash. It's a few hours early from what I've told him, but he did ask me for a call once I'm done. Besides, I don't have a ride back. He offered, so I might as well take it. Or bribe him into giving me one. Not that I'll ever accept the latter, personal convictions and all. Honestly, if there's something I find admirable in him, despite his tendency to annoy the hell out of me, it's that. Well, whatever way works. A free ride is still a free ride. There's Rose's offer too, but despite what she says, I know she'll be busy for the rest of the afternoon, especially without me assisting. Bothering her for a favor as small as this is the last thing I want to do right now. A couple minutes and a few prayers asking for a different signal lighter, the call finally connects, and...
Shit! Sup, I'm Ash from Deluxe City. Bad guys, watch out! Can't beat me. Looking for trouble? Better not lie. I'm a cool dude. Pretty fly for an Asian guy. Sup,
what?
How loud is this thing even?
A sharp ringing fills the entire hall, disrupting the pleasant quiet that has settled. Soon enough, heads begin to turn in search of the source, mine included. My eyes dart around the small crowd before zeroing in on a lone figure crouched along behind the same group of old people checking out the decors moments ago. He is facing away from me, fumbling with something in his hands. But I don't need to see his face to know whose back it is. Oh, I'll recognize that dumb parka anywhere. Without bothering to check the call, I march towards him. After what happened today, I'm really not in the mood to deal with this.
All the times to
Ashton Frey!
What happens next is something I'll surely regret later for having not recorded. He jumps, lets out an undignified yelp, followed by his phone slipping from his grip. It bounces from one hand to the other in his poor attempt to catch it before ultimately falling flat on the floor with a resounding clack. I kind of feel sorry for the phone, and the floor. But it's not every day you can catch someone like Ash off guard and get a reaction. Despite his stupid detective senses. Damn his stupid detective senses. I'll take every ounce of victory I can get, no matter small. Ha! An awkward pause passes between us. A blink, a cough. He makes a face, and then, in a too-quick motion, he ducks and retrieves his abused gadget while a grin threatens to break out from my lips. He doesn't meet my eyes when he straightens, but a flush has crept up his neck and cheeks. In another universe, where we haven't known each other for 5 years and suffering through his teasing is not a day-to-day occurrence, chances are I'll find that adorable, endearing even. Unfortunately, this isn't that kind of world. The way things are, I'm already content to see him out of his normally collected disposition.
Hello to you too, scaredy cat. I could stand to be greeted like a normal person, you know.
What? And miss that look on your face? No way. Oh man, I should have taken a picture.
I am so honored you find this funny. Is that how you treat your guests? I think I need to talk to your supervisor.
Talk to yourself. You aren't even a guest here. What are you doing here in the first place?
For a moment, he looks like a cat that swallowed the canary. Suddenly, checking every nook and cranny in his phone for any damage or scratches seems to be more interesting activity than explaining himself.
I could be looking to buy a house.
A mansion?
Yeah, why not? Did you see the view outside? It doesn't look haunted to me at all.
He's messing with me.
Ashton, I am not in the mood. What are you doing here?
He catches a glimpse at some point behind me. The parlor? Curious, I follow his gaze, but before I can figure out what has caught his attention, he places a hand on my shoulder and turns me back to
I
face
just
him.
finished working on something earlier than expected, so I dropped by.
I still don't see how his work has anything to do with why he's here. At my confused look, he drops the hand resting on my arm like he's touched something particularly hot and casually rubs the back of his neck.
And I said I'll see if I can pick you up. Turns out I can. Free time and all. So here I am. Figured you'd still be busy, and so I roamed around for a while.
Oh, you should have mentioned that sooner. I was about to throw you out.
Throw me? Hey, I was given a pamphlet. I think that makes me a legitimate client, at least.
We have a mandatory sign-in sheets for clients, Ash. I didn't see your name on it. And you can't just roam around because it says open house. Normal people actually follow an etiquette here.
Right, okay. I think I'll just go ahead and...
No, wait. I wasn't really going to throw you out. Rose said, never mind. I was just about to leave anyway.
Wait, what? Now?
Something must have shown in my face because he pauses and gives me a long hard stare. Sometimes I forget how easy reading people is for Ash, given how often he looks at everything around him as a chore. I avoid his eyes, hoping he'll drop the subject and won't ask any more questions. The last thing I want to tell him is what happened, especially the part about the letter. In fact, he's the last person on Earth I'll ever think about telling it to if I can help it. Sure, he's a dependable guy. God knows how many times he's helped me, even without me asking for it. But stuff like ghosts and the supernatural? He'll never believe those even if he hears it from a friend, except maybe if it's Becca. On a good day, the most harmless thing he'll do is give you a detailed explanation why those things have no chance of ever being real. At worst, he's insufferable. He'll poke fun at you every single chance he'll get. Ashhole, what did I ever do to him? He never does that to Becca or Zach. I can already imagine how things will go down the moment I spill a word of what I saw in the attic. Nope, over my dead body. Before it catches his attention, I shove the letter still clasped in my hand deep into my bag.
What's wrong?
Nothing. Well, let's just go.
Doesn't look like a nothing to me.
We still have Zach's movie tonight, remember?
It's still early. And didn't you say your shift will end around 5 or 6? What about— Hey, Isabella, wait up!
A rush of air greets me as soon as the main door opens. Not the usual autumn drought, but still a welcome change from the stifling atmosphere inside the mansion. Where are we? In the branching tree. Oh, there, okay. Ash's footsteps are quick behind me, the soles of his shoes thumping hard against the polished concrete in an awkward cadence as he rushes to catch up. He calls out once, twice. The mansion still looms in the background. Whispers calling me back, shadows beckoning. I don't look back. We spend the ride back to Luxmorn sitting in a relatively quiet manner, with only the radio's disjointed hum in the background filling the silence. Occasionally, Ash will reach out to fiddle with it until the signal settles, or it's on a respectable volume. But otherwise, he doesn't say anything. Neither do I. However, if the furtive glances he's been sending my way is a sign, I know there's something he's been itching to ask since we left the mansion. I keep my eyes trained on the passing scenery outside, in the small hope that my feigned disinterest will dissuade him.
Here.
All of a sudden, he tosses something at me from a small compartment on his side. It hits me cleanly on the chin before I can make a move to catch it, the small package making a soft landing on my lap instead.
Sorry.
The glare I sent him wastes the smirk about to form cleanly off his face, and he clears his throat, focusing his eyes on the road again. I swear, he did that on purpose. Ignoring him, I flip the half-forgotten package on my lap to check.
I won't say no to free food, but why are you giving away cereal bars?
I always have one on my person, and you look like you're about to pass out back there. Have you eaten lunch yet?
I don't even get a chance to deny it, because right on cue, my stomach grumbles loudly and an empty gnawing feeling in my belly becomes noticeable. No surprise there, I did skip breakfast and lunch so I could catch Becca while she was on break. I was hoping to get a small meal after. I guess with everything going on, I just forgot until Ash mentioned it. It's not like this hall of feeling's new to me, though. If anything, it's just one of the things I've gotten used to ignoring over the years growing up. Thanks, and then I tear open the package and start nibbling at the edge of the bar. Apart from acknowledging a nod, Ash doesn't say anything after that small exchange. For that, I'm thankful. After getting an earful from both Beckett and Rose, it's nice to be able to just sit down with someone who's not going to nag at you.
How'd the open house go?
The usual. We got a bigger crowd than normal because of the property's fame, but really, no different from the typical open house. On second thought, it actually looks like a fancy party more than an open house. I've never felt so underdressed in my life. Weren't you there?
I wasn't really listening.
I should have asked someone to kick you out.
No, you won't.
And what makes you so sure?
One, ever since you got assigned to this property, you've been freaking out about it. Rebecca's words, not mine. She's been complaining to me about how you talked your ears off, by the way. Two, despite your initial qualms about the place, you still took the job, which brings us to three. It's been months since you last settled a deal, and you're short on money right now since you're back to your instant noodle diet.
How do you even know about the last one?
Rebecca, anyhow, you're hellbent on selling the mansion. Even if someone you know personally is in the tour group, you aren't going to just kick them out. Every single person who went on your open house is still a prospective client to you. Even me.
He's not entirely wrong. Oh man, I walked right into that one, didn't I?
I hate you. I really hate you right now.
His answer is a small laughter, the kind that screams, "I'm right, I told you so." I hate it when he does that.
I'll have you know that there's already someone who's extremely interested in this property. So even if you expressed any sort of interest in it, I don't think they'd be willing to let you have it. Too bad.
Provided I didn't botch it with the rights. Why, of all times, did I have to screw up like that? In front of an important customer, no less. I owe Rose a big apology. I hope she likes free donuts.
You don't seem too happy about it.
I am happy. Doesn't this look like a happy face to you?
Really? And here I was thinking you found another one stuffed in the sofa. Or is it the wardrobe this time?
He meant it as a joke, but how close it is to the truth made my blood run cold, my own heartbeat a heavy weight in my chest. All at once, the letter in my bag feels a whole lot heavier, burdened by my own guilt and apprehension.
Yeah, well, things happened. Stuff the right couple might not be pleased about. No need to make a fuss about it. It's normal in the business.
You made them angry?
Not angry. Just stuff happened.
Like?
Things.
Did they do anything? Your clients. The rights, was it?
I can't answer that. At least not without revealing everything that took place in the attic.
You keep asking me about my work, yet you haven't said a single word about yours. That's not fair. Both you and Zach have literally disappeared off the face of the earth.
An over-exaggeration, but changing the subject to something else is still better than outright lying to him. Besides, it never works with him. I'm not sure if it's because I'm just bad at it, or because he's really very good at his job. He doesn't answer immediately, only momentarily shifting a glance over me and returning it back to the road when he is to make a sharp turn. Outside, the sun has already started its descent, casting a vibrant orange glow on the tall buildings. I wonder how long before we'll reach the venue for Zach's film. Checking the street signs outside, it appears Ash has taken the longer route. Odd, but he's probably trying to avoid the rush hour traffic.
Didn't we just talk a week ago over chat?
That's different. Linking your awful memes in the group chat box every morning isn't exactly a conversation.
Excuse me, I don't hear you calling them awful while you're laughing at all of them.
Shut up! And you aren't answering my question.
That earns him a soft punch to his arm. I did laugh at them, but I'm not going to give him the satisfaction of knowing that I find most of them funny. It'll only make his head bigger. Stupid Ash.
Alright. Lay off on the abuse. Remember that case I mentioned before? We've been trying to pin the bastard down, but it required more work than we anticipated. The guy's slippery like that. We got some good lead months ago.
He recounts what he's been doing in the time then we haven't seen each other. His usual work, the occasional small investigation, and the big case he's been stuck working on. Stuff he couldn't mention in the brief time we catch each other online. Although most of it are the trimmed down version, only things he can tell. He has always been careful about that. Even in the way he spins his answers to my questions, just enough to satisfy my curiosity, but not enough to paint the whole picture. At one point, his voice takes on a strained tone when he mentions something about the big case, but I don't dwell on it much. That's normal, right? I mean, who wouldn't be frustrated if you can't bring someone you're chasing to justice? Just because they keep slipping out of your fingers. If I were in his shoes, I'd definitely lose my mind. His stories never ceased to be entertaining to me regardless. If things weren't the way they were back home, maybe I would have considered taking on the same job as him. Well, nope, not really. Mama would never allow that. But the idea is still there, along with countless others I've let go. Time passes quickly between us in this manner, and before I know it, we're already at the movie house. A small crowd has already formed in front of the theater when Ash and I arrive. The Lift Fest, short for Luxembourg Independent Film and Theater Festival, attracts a bigger crowd annually, and this year's no different. I've only been to a few indie film screenings with Zach, so I'm not an expert on this matter. But I know that for people hoping to make a break in the industry, getting your film recognized by a local event like this is already a big deal. Especially for a newcomer like Zach. He hasn't even won an award, but just getting a confirmation letter that the festival committee wants to include his movie in this year's lineup already put a grin on his face for weeks. Speaking of the guy, he's impossible to miss. At 6 feet, he appears to loom over most of the moviegoers, and with his large build and heavy voice, there's no surprise when people give him a wide berth as they pass by. It's often easy to mistake him for someone intimidating at first glance. I did, back when I didn't know any better. Ash did too, I heard, once early in their friendship.
Oh, there's Zach!
Hey, you guys! Long time no see!
Zach's face lights up with a smile of his own. He moves towards us, taking careful steps and a significant effort to make himself smaller, so as to not bump or accidentally hit anyone. Typical Zach. As he nears Ash, casually raises his hand in greeting and...
Sup, Z-Man, my main man! What's crack-a-lackin', my homie?
The awkwardness that descends within the immediate vicinity of our small group is palpable enough. Somewhere to our left, a girl giggles, and only then do I become aware of my mouth hanging open. I'm almost amazed at how Ash can say that out loud with a straight face. Almost. Considering his track record, I should be used to it by now. Zach seems to be.
Don't stop trying to act black, Ashton. And you're the only one who calls me Z-Man.
There's fondness underneath his exasperated tone. If this were any other person, he'd likely be offended, but years of friendship and familiarity have made these words harmless to the other's ears. Or at least enough both for them to take it in stride.
It's been a while, Zach.
I hope you didn't get into trouble again.
Not much to get into trouble lately without you, I'm afraid. I'll let you know if something comes up, though.
Nah, I ended up with chicken down stuck on me last time I agreed. I'd really love at least this year to pass without some sort of accident happening again.
Hey, I take offense to that. It wasn't that bad.
You really have no idea.
A beat passes and then Zach laughs.
Hey, I'm kidding! You know you can always count on me.
It's a story only the two of them are privy to. Every now and then, Ash will enlist Zach's help on something. Becca and I have never really found out the real deals with those adventures, as Ash calls it, and both aren't willing to tell due to some unspoken agreement. She insists that if it's Ash, it's likely not something illegal or life-threatening. I tend to believe her on that. Sometimes. Oh well, boys will be boys, I guess. I give Zach a small wave from behind Ash when he turns his attention eventually to me.
Bella! Huh? Rebecca's not with you. Is she still sick?
A bit. But she's up and went to work this morning. You know she doesn't listen to anyone that's not Ash.
Yes, she does.
No, she doesn't. You're literally the only person she'll listen to when she's feeling stubborn.
And it's true. They've known each other for far longer than any of us in the group, childhood friends and all.
Don't worry, Zach. She's probably on her way here now. She promised she wouldn't miss your movie.
Isabella! Oh, thank goodness!
Speak of the devil. Without warning, a hand grabs me by the shoulder and turns me
Becca,
around.
you're just in time.
I have to lean back a little with the way her face is almost invading my personal space, but she places her hand on either side of my face to keep my head still. She stares at me intently, concern filling her eyes.
You're squishing my face.
How are you? Are you alright?
Why wouldn't I be?
Rose called me earlier.
Those 4 words tell me all I need to know. Since I don't have my family living close by and the only other relative I have works in the far side of the country, I give my company Becca's contact number in case of an emergency. I should have known Rose will call her. I push Becca's hands away from my face. Although she lets go, her eyebrows remain drawn together.
Oh, no! Everything's good. Rose covered for me at work today.
That's not what I'm talking about. How's your head?
Beside me, Ash snickers. I bite back the urge to elbow him in place of trying to avoid Becca's hand as she tries to reach for the said area. I did my best to dodge her all at once, moving to hide behind Zach. Sorry for using you as a human shield, Zach.
Oh, it's nothing. I just slipped off a few steps on my way down. I blacked out for a few seconds and had a minor bump, but it's just that.
You blacked out? It's not something to brush off. Come on, at least let me check it.
It's extremely minor. You wouldn't even know it's there.
Isabella, this isn't a laughing matter.
She did look pale when I saw her earlier.
Wow. Thanks a lot, Ashton, you traitor. I'll get you back for this. Just you wait.
What? I'm just saying it as it is. If you mentioned this earlier, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
I'm sorry. Saw her?
Yeah, they arrived together. Bella looked fine to me then. I don't know.
Something crosses Becca's face, but it's gone before I can figure out what it is.
Oh, that's good. At least she didn't have to travel alone, right? At least. Good.
See? I'm okay. I wouldn't be here if I wasn't. And I don't want to miss Zach's film.
We can always watch it some other time. Sorry, Zachary.
No, it's good, but you guys should really keep it down. We're starting to attract some attention.
It's the premiere. The premiere's different. Right, Zach?
I shoot him a pleading look. Zach's a sensible guy. He'll understand. Please understand.
Not really. But Rebecca has a point. In the end, I think it's your call.
Oh, for heaven's sake!
Please, Becca. I really don't want to miss it.
You're not missing it. Oh, we're just moving it on a different day so we can have a medical professional take a look at you.
Look, you guys.
Ash just went outside and unexpectedly cuts through the conversation. He's pinching the bridge of his nose as he speaks, something he usually does when he's getting impatient.
If she says she's okay, then there's nothing we can do about it. It's not like we can stop her either. Besides, she's still acting like the same old Isabella to me. If she can still run around like that.
Why are you taking her side?
I'm not. But if she wants to watch Zach's movie with us, I'm not going to stop her. She's probably the one looking forward to it the most.
Ash, that's... You, of all people, should know...
Tell you what. If I notice something amiss with her, I'll take her to the nearest hospital myself. Is that good enough for you?
I already know the answer before Becca voices it out. When, at last, she releases a deep breath and nods, albeit with great reluctance, I immediately tackle her into a hug.
Becca.
It's always been you with him, isn't it?
Did you say something?
Me? Nothing. Don't mind me.
If you say so.
Okay, guys, showtime's close, so I think I'm gonna get us some snacks. My treat. And then let's head inside. Anyone here has a smaller bill?
I think I do. Hold on.
I pull myself from Becca to get my wallet from my bag.
What's this?
It's already in Ash's hands before I can even react. Behind him, Becca and Zach are both giving the piece of paper an intrigued look.
No! Give it back!
It's just a paper.
I don't care! Give it!
Looks ancient, too. Why do you keep this around?
I tried to reach for it, but he holds the paper way above his head. I have never been particularly sensitive with my own height, but right now I wish I had that advantage over him.
Don't open it!
What's the big deal? It's not like it's a love letter. I don't see any reason to... Hold on a second. This is, isn't it?
Even if it is, it's not for you.
Okay. Now I'm curious.
I'm telling you it's nothing like that. It's...
The rest of my words are lost when he unfolds the paper. I can't breathe. My heart feels stuck in my throat, pounding, threatening to burst out. Vaguely, I note how my hands are trembling at my sides. Clasping them together doesn't do any good. They are still shaking, but I hang on to it regardless. The awful, sick weight that has taken its core in my stomach back in the open house returns in full force. How do I fix this? How do I fix this? How do I fix this? Someone, please. Today is turning out to be a horrible nightmare.
Send this to 5 people, or else. Well, that's... interesting.
Guys, I think we should listen to Bella first.
Aren't you a few days early for Halloween?
Ash waves the paper in front of me, giving me a fleeting glimpse of its contents. I don't need to see, I don't want to see. The letters, the words, every stroke written in blood is already embedded in my mind. Maybe I should have just thrown it away when I had the chance. That way. That way.
It's not a prank.
It makes all of them stop. Even I am surprised with how steady my voice is.
What did you say?
This isn't a prank! I saw something!
Hold on. Are we still talking about this paper? Or is it about the urban legend again?
Both. I know it sounds ridiculous.
You're saying this is a primitive version of a chain letter, and now that we've seen it, we're now cursed. You've got to be kidding me.
See? This is why I didn't want to tell you guys.
Isabella, aren't you taking this a bit too far?
It's not a joke! Will you guys listen to me first? I saw something in the house earlier. It stood right in front of me. If I hadn't gotten away, that thing might have...
Right. And in broad daylight, Isabella. Typically, I don't believe in this stuff, but even someone gullible would find the logic in that screwed up.
There's also no way in hell that this supernatural shit you're talking about is true.
But it's real! What do you think I saw?
A hallucination? A delusion? Didn't you say you fell down some stairs? So maybe Rebecca's right.
It happened after, when I was trying to get away. I almost got stuck in the same room with... We're all in danger. I thought you were my friends. Why don't you believe me?
We are, and you know that. But this thing and that thing has got nothing to do with the other. When Rose called earlier, I thought she's just exaggerating. But based on what I'm seeing right now, maybe it's better if we really postpone this for now.
Don't bother.
Without another word, I snatch the letter out of Ash's hand and stuff it back in my bag with more force than necessary. I'm tired. I got cursed, saw a ghost, probably lost a sale, got kicked out of the open house I'm supposed to be hosting, my own friends won't believe me, and all of them think I'm crazy. To top it all off, there's a dull ache at the back of my head begging for a little attention I can't afford to give right now. Honestly, there's only so much a person can take within a single day. I just want to go home, curl up in my bed, and never think about today. But before I can take a single step away from the group... Zach rarely ever raises his voice, even when there's a point he wants to drive home, and hearing him take on that tone completely throws me off. Even Ash and Becca, whatever harsh words yet to come out of the argument, immediately die in her tongues.
Why don't we all calm down first? I'm sure Isabella has her reasons too. No need to be hard on her. And hey, ain't this supposed to be a happy get-together? We haven't seen each other for months. I'd really love to know what y'all have been up to. I only ever get to talk to Bella over chat. Please.
He has a point. Ash, for all his attempts to look cool and distant, has also been looking forward to this. He even took the time to call this morning for a reminder. He never does that. Becca, too. I'm pretty sure that's another reason why she got out of bed today. Yet, despite Zach's attempts to lighten things up, or Ash's and Becca's acquiescing gestures, the tightness in my chest remains. I should have just kept it to myself, or at least went with the idea that it's a prank. If I did, things might not have turned out the way they did. No sour mood, no bad vibes. Careless, so careless. Maybe leaving is the best decision for all of us. Any other day, I'll excuse myself and go straight home. But this is something special to Zach, something he worked so hard to bring to life. I should know better. I might be having a bad day, but being with a few people I care about far outweighs the idea of spending the rest of the day throwing a tantrum alone in my room. And what if the thing in the attic follows me home? I don't want to be left alone with my thoughts either. I can still see it whenever I close my eyes. And maybe, if I stay and let our heads cool down first before telling them what happened, they'll listen to me? There's nothing you can't solve with a calm head. One step at a time, Isabella. That's what Mama used to tell me. Besides, I don't have the heart to ditch Zach. A smile is back on my face when I look up at them.
If we keep arguing here, we're going to miss the first few minutes.
Alright, that's the Isabella I know.
Oh, good. I thought for sure you were going to cry.
This time, I really do send an elbow straight into his stomach. Stupid Ash, being vertically challenged has his perks too.
What was that for?
Stop calling me a crybaby! I'm not one!
Aw, don't cry.
Stop it!
Okay, scaredy cat then.
That too! If you repeat that, I swear I'll...
Let's just go.
Without another word, Becca goes inside. She doesn't even wait to stop for us when I call after her. Ash and I exchange looks at that, the same question likely swimming inside our minds. Did something happen at school after I left? Is she having a bad day too? I'll try asking her about it later, I guess.
So, you guys go catch up with her. I'll go get us the food, I promise.
But you'll miss it!
Didn't you say watching a movie without food ain't fun? And it ain't like I haven't seen it. I made it, remember? I'll be in there soon.
One friendly tap on my shoulder, and then he's gone. A few moviegoers are still milling about, some still waiting in line for tickets, but otherwise most of the crowd are still already inside. There's nothing much for us to do here now. Not a word of protest comes from me when Gash gestures for the two of us to head inside.
And then?
Are you sure it wasn't one of the cleaning crews?
Absolutely sure.
Somehow, halfway through the movie, the conversation steered towards what happened in the mansion. To be fair, Zach's the one who brought it up again. And his own movie's premiere. Now the film just serving as background noise while we're speaking in such tones, just careful not to disturb anyone inside the small hall. Well, except for Ash. I just hope we don't end up arguing about it again. We'll all get kicked out for sure. Though, with how loud Ash's voice is, we'll probably get thrown out way before any argument happens. Only Becca still remains engrossed in the movie, completely ignoring us. She's been quiet the whole evening, speaking only when referred to. If I didn't know any better, I think we did something that offended her earlier. Did we?
And then I ran. You heard what happened after.
I still think it's something else.
It was standing right in front of me, Ash.
He's the one of the smartest people I know, but geez, he should learn to listen. Plus, didn't he say he doesn't believe in these things? Why is he in this conversation again?
I heard what you said, but it's a small room. There are a lot of things someone else could have done there without your knowledge. If I could see it up close, maybe I can...
I am not going back there.
Ain't that a problem if you're hosting an open house?
Rose does the first floor tour.
I ain't sure ghosts can be restricted to one room, Bella.
There are no ghosts, Zach. Stop putting useless ideas in her head.
Yeah, but I was thinking, maybe all the house needs is a blessing. Wasn't it left uninhabited for years?
Oh, the house did change hands over the years, from one distant relative of the Ermengardes to another. None of them bothered to live in it, though, and it remained that way up until its current owners decided to sell it. Why didn't I think of that?
I didn't peg you as the religious type, Zach.
Nothing like that, Ash. Who knows, though? It might bring something positive to the place.
That's not a bad idea. I just don't know where I could find someone.
You're not seriously considering his suggestion, are you?
Do you have a better idea?
I know where. I could contact him for you if
you do that?
Or we can find you a psychologist instead.
There are very few times in my life where I wish my glowers can kill. This is one of those.
Ash, that is not a very appropriate thing to say right now.
No, wait, that's not what I meant. Ethnographer. I meant ethnographer. This guy's a psychologist too, of course, if you...
Ashton, if you don't stop...
Rebecca knows the guy I'm talking about too. She can vouch for him.
Becca tears her eyes away from the screen at the mention of her name.
What? Oh, are you talking about Professor Andrew? He used to work with my parents at the university. And can you guys keep it down?
Sorry, but since Scaredy Cat here mentioned curses, not that I'm saying this is one, because that's nigh improbable, you'd probably benefit more from someone like Andrew. The stuff you're saying is still really hard to believe. But talking to him is a better solution for me than getting a random priest to bless an old house. He'll even help you figure things out. Teach you a couple. At best, he'll let you see things from a different perspective, and probably put your fears to rest, since this looks to be bothering you a lot.
Ash might be right too. However, what Zach has also suggested is something I'm more familiar with. Granted, they don't believe me, and they're only giving me these suggestions to put my mind at ease, but it's better than being ignored or being laughed at. I can take comfort in knowing that they're willing to at least hear me out.
So, what do you think?
It's your call. We'll go with whatever you want.
I don't know.
Who should I meet? We're gonna meet with the
I'll think
professor.
about it, but if ever, I'd like to give talking to Andrew a try.
Alright, I will be right back.
Is that okay? Won't he have other things to do?
He is a bit busy, but he'll make time for me. He's my go-to person when I'm stuck in something. He won't mind if I bring a friend with me this time.
If you're sure.
I guess that settles it then.
Guys, I said keep it down. You keep insisting that we still watch it. You're not even paying attention yourselves.
It ain't a big deal, Rebecca. I'm the one who broached the subject in the first place.
It's still your film, Zachary. A good film, mind you. You worked hard on this. The least we could do is watch it with you.
And that's what you're all doing. I really appreciate all of you making time for this.
Sorry, Becca. We'll stop now.
I throw her an apologetic look, even if Ash is the only one she should be reprimanding, but her attention is already back on the screen. She's ignoring us again. When Becca is acting the way she is right now, there's a big chance something's nagging her. We really need to talk. We all fall into a comfortable silence after, the kind only you can share with people you're most easy with. For the first time today, the letter lies forgotten on my bag, if only for a few hours. Night has fallen by the time we exit the movie house. Luxembourg Independent Film and Theatre Festival celebrated its 9th year discovering new creative talents in the film industry. Included in the few showcased this year was Zachary Seals' Bleu Foncé, Dark Times of the Black British. Isabel Santos, Ashton Frey, and Rebecca Gills were also seen amongst the crowd for its premiere. Despite this late hour, the streets are still bustling full of people. Those about to head home, those set to meet someone, even those simply wandering about. Walking in the sea of unfamiliar souls, it strikes me at how easy it is for one to get lost in a city as nondescript as Luxembourg. I was afraid too. At one point, back when I was new and had just set foot in this place. Now, with familiar faces walking with me, it feels a little like home. Zach and Ash bid us goodbye shortly before Becca and I crossed the other side of the street. The former claiming he's got a few freelance jobs to take care of before the day ends. And Ash? Or who knows, he never tells. Sometimes he'll just randomly appear at your doorstep looking for a place to crash. He does that to Zach a lot, much to his friend's frustration. Although he's a busy guy too, in spite of the laid-back air he gives off.
Thanks for today, everyone!
No problem, Zach. I'm sorry for what happened earlier. Huh?
A sensation. Cold, sickening, drowning, my chest tightening, breathing becoming labored. I can taste blood in my mouth, the edge of my version blurs. In the distance, amidst the countless nameless people going about their lives, a voice reaches out to me. Pleading is even as I clench my eyes tight and clasp my hands over the ears. Whispering, 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 calling out.
No, not me.
Somebody.
Isabella? Earth to Isabella?
At her voice, the whole world suddenly snaps into place, the murmur's gone. When I open my eyes, Becca raises an eyebrow at me in question.
Weren't you listening? Are you coming with me?
Oh, yeah. Just... Okay, sorry. I spaced out.
You always do that.
I follow her without complaint, but not before sneaking a glance to the far end of the street, where the voice came from, where another set of eyes might be peering at me. Nothing. There's only Zach and Ash washing over us as we head back to where Becca parked our ride home. If I'm expecting to see something or someone there, I try not to let it show. Try not to think of tiny pinpricks of fear crawling at the pit of my stomach.
See you guys some other time.
Yeah. See ya.
Another glance, and with the final wave, we go off on our own ways. I don't know what I saw, I don't know what I heard, I don't want to know. And if this is what will help me sleep tonight, what will give me back that normalcy, then so be it. It's Saturday now. The darkness closes around me, grasping, pulling, engulfing me. The ground caves in, and without warning, I'm falling. My eyes snap open. For an instant, it doesn't immediately register where I am. Both my back and shoulders are aching from me having fallen asleep all hunched up the night before. Drenched in sweat, the nest of pillows I often keep around me feels more suffocating than comforting. I let my eyes adjust to the bright morning light streaming through my window and allow my breathing to slow down before untangling myself from the pile. I haven't a single dream since coming to Luxborn, or at least none that I can tell, and it's a shame because they used to be so vivid. Not the crazy vivid, but the more pleasant kind that I'll tell my siblings about. Maybe it's just the stress of living alone? The knowledge that I'll always wake up in an empty apartment with no one to tell stories to.
What time is it?
Habit forces me to look over the clock, even with the soreness weighing heavily on my shoulders, and the compulsion to never leave my bed for the day. Dots. In a heartbeat, I'm up.
Oh man, of all the times to oversleep. Towel? Towel? Where's my towel?
Admittedly, it's a weekend, and as an unspoken rule, that entitles me to an extra hours of sleep. But if Rose didn't kill me yesterday, she sure as hell will now. And right after what happened, oh lord, one box of donuts as peace offering won't be enough the second time around. Grabbing my towel, I'm already a few short steps from the bathroom when a muffled ring breaks up from my bag. There's a moment of indecision at first, my mind conflicted whether I should just ignore or answer it. What if it's Rose? Or worse, our boss? Ah, sheesh. In the end, the rational part of my brain wins out. The letter from yesterday peeks out when I pull the device out. Just the sight of it is enough to put me in a foul mood, and it takes every force of will for me to just ignore it in favor of answering the call. The caller ID reads Mama. It's around 4:45 p.m. in the Philippines right now.
That's an unusual time for them to call.
Usually it's around noon time, and I'm the one calling, not the other way around. Better for them to use that money on something else than an international call. Regardless, in the most cheerful tone I can gather.
Hello? Grace? How are you?
Mama! I'm doing okay. How are you guys over there?
We're good. EJ won a storytelling contest at school the other week. Brought home a medal. I thought you should know.
There's a tired lilt in her voice as she speaks, and it's been there ever since Papa had to leave his job. I wish there's something I can do for her, but from miles away like this, the least I'm able to do is not make her worry. If only my older brother would actually lend a hand, but Lord knows if that'll ever happen. Odds are, Kuya Jordan's already drinking right now. Again. I can't count on my older sister either, knowing she has a family of her own, and, well, Ann's financial situation isn't great now, having ran herself knee-deep in debt.
Great! That's great! Tell him congratulations from me. And let him know I'm gonna send him a little something extra this Christmas. How about Nico? Karen? Michael? I hope they're okay?
They're doing well. They wanted to talk to you, but they're all busy with school.
Oh no, that's fine. I don't want to bother them. Just tell them to keep doing their best for me. I'll just call back when I know they're not busy. And Papa? How's Papa doing?
It's a subject I'm a bit hesitant to broach, and from the way Mama's voice hitches, she also doesn't want to bring it up.
Papa. Grace, he's having a little difficulty right now. But the doctor said we should keep encouraging him. It just means his body's accepting his new treatment well. The money you sent last time helped a lot to pay for it, by the way.
Oh, I see. That's good.
I won't deny that life has gotten tougher for our family. It used to be easy back when Papa was in good shape. But ever since he was diagnosed with the sickness 5 years ago, he had been unable to provide for us. Now the burden of feeding 8 mouths, and settling Papa's bills all rests on my shoulders. Although Mama makes a little accepting sewing and laundry jobs in our neighborhood, it's scarcely enough to cover the costs of day-to-day living, let alone the bloating hospital bills. We can't even expect help from our own government because health insurance there barely covers anything.
I'm sure he'll get better soon. Is he well enough to talk?
Silence. I think the call got cut until...
Listen, Grace. Maybe it's better if we transfer Papa to a different hospital. Somewhere cheaper?
What? Why? Did something happen? Is it the deposit issue again? Give me the hospital's number. I'll talk to them.
No, it's nothing bad. The service here is good, but I'm worried you're working yourself to the ground because of it.
Mama, we've been through this before. I want the best for Papa. And don't worry about the bills or the medicine, or me for that matter. I can handle myself. Everything's going well here. In fact, we're about to close a large sale.
Hopefully. If not, then I'll find another way. She doesn't need to know that. Sorry, Mama. You taught me not to lie, yet look at what I'm doing.
I'll have money to send over soon to cover the rest of Papa's treatment. And there's more than enough for Karen, Nico, Michael, and EJ's school tuition for the next semester, too.
Thank you so much, dear. I appreciate it. We all do. But I just wish you'd come home to us soon.
Kalayan Kuawi? When are you coming home? EJ, the youngest, used to be the sole person asking me that. How do you respond to a question you don't have a definitive answer to? 5 years later, and I still can't give them a straight one. I smile though, Mama can't see it. I fight to keep my lips from quivering, my voice from shaking. She's got enough on her plate as it is. No need to weigh her down with unnecessary concerns.
Promise me you'll be there to welcome me when I do, okay?
Of course. I'm sorry, Grace. I need to take this for a while.
There's a small commotion on the other end, the sound of gates opening, the voice of a child, EJ, talking excitedly about his day at school, the tapping of feet on the floorboards as he runs. It's been years since I went home, but I can still picture the whole scene in my mind. How tall is he now? Are the neighborhood kids bullying him now that I'm not around? Did Mama rearrange the furniture in the living room again? What are they having for dinner today? I miss them. I miss them so much.
It's okay, Ma. I need to go too. I've got work today. I'll call again soon, alright?
On a Saturday? Oh, never mind. Take care of yourself, dear. I love you.
I love you. Bye.
It ends with a soft click, leaving half-truths and empty promises hanging in the air. Isabella received an unexpected call from her family back in the Philippines. In an emotional moment, her mother informed her of her father's deteriorating condition despite treatments. Nonetheless, the young woman assured her and continued to work hard to be able to support all of them. Closing my eyes for a moment, I take a deep breath and shake away from my head, the thoughts beginning to swim inside. It's pointless to mull over these things right now.
Okay, Isabella. Time to get that mansion sold.
Unfortunately, before I can take a simple step away from my phone, it rings again. No doubt Mama forgot to say something.
Did you forget anything?
Excuse you? I'm too young to be your mom. Are you still sleeping? Hold on, never mind that. Get yourself in the office. Hurry!
Office? What about the open house? Oh no. Is it Sir John? Did you hear about yesterday? Am I in trouble? Oh god, oh god, oh god! I'm gonna get yelled at, aren't I? What do I do? I'll buy you an extra box of donuts.
No, it's nothing like that. Will you calm down? Get yourself here, alright? I'll tell you everything then.
There's the telltale din of several feet shuffling against a wooden flooring and an indistinct yelling in the background before Rose cuts the connection. That isn't in any way comforting, but it's enough reason for me to hastily discard my phone to my bed and finish my shower in record time. I make it to the office within 20 minutes of leaving my apartment, completely disheveled and out of breath. A few if I take into my account my usual travel time. routine clamor common to Briar Realty's corporation's look-for an office greets me as soon as my foot crosses the threshold. Papers rustling, telephones ringing at sporadic intervals, agents talking at various volumes, staff moving about, and...
Where the hell is C? Where are my employees? What the actual fuck, guys? Of all the times to disappear without notice.
My boss's words turn muffled as someone else closes the door to his office, likely the work of our HR manager. Throughout the past weeks, he's been in a bad mood over a few employers who have failed to report to work. I hear they're still trying to get a hold of them, but to no avail. The result is, half their workload has been shifted to all available staff so as to not lose clients. Not that I mind the extra work. If anything, it means that I'll have more to send my family back home. Although, the rumors of a branch closure circulating because of this is indeed a bit worrisome. My bag barely touches the top of my table when Rose pulls me aside.
I need you to help me with these papers. If you could also get these signed and photocopied before lunch today, that would be great.
One after another, she thrusts a bunch of paperwork into my hand without an explanation. A page flutters away from the top of the pile, and I lean down to pick it up, my eyes scanning the top of the page as I straighten. A purchase and sale agreement. Rose simply gestures her thumb toward the visitor's lounge when I tilt my head in question. There, seated on the sofa and looking completely out of place in the humbly decorated room, is the same couple from the day before. The Wrights. Something bubbles up in my throat. Their presence in the office can only mean one thing.
They're buying it? We got a deal?
She swats at my hand, tucking her sleeve, although her eyes are alight with something akin to joy. She wants the sale to happen as much as I do. And now that it's here, the deal needs to be closed yet. Documents still need to be signed yet, but the elation is there. Along with a foreboding feeling I can't quite pinpoint.
I had to do a little damage control, but they're already interested in acquiring the property. Even before they attended the open house. I mean, isn't it obvious? They already hired an interior designer. I've never seen a buyer as aggressive as Madam Wright. She didn't even try to negotiate a lower rate.
One at a time, Rose. I can't process everything you're saying at once. What do you mean?
They're paying 15% higher than the listing price. As long as we get the paperwork done as soon as possible. I think if we allow it, they'll be paying up front, too.
Even with that urban legend?
Rose nods.
I was so sure we lost the sale after yesterday.
Don't look so surprised. We still have to conduct some last few checks before we completely hand it over to them.
Please. I'll happily do the paperwork duty, Rose. I'll even go to the land registry myself and make sure the property changes hands with every single legal blessing.
Don't they have better things to do? Don't they have better things to spend money on? I'll haggle it down to the lowest possible price if I were in their place, especially with the stories attached to it. Not that my opinion matters one bit here. We're just their agents who are going to receive the heavy commission after all. Nothing more. Rose gives me a pat on the shoulder, signaling she's heading back to them and an unspoken instruction for me to follow after I'm done. It doesn't take me long to finish what work she has left me. In fact, having the boss sign the agreement is the easiest since it's put him in a better mood, much to the entire office's relief. Ma'am Hannah calls me over at the moment she notices my presence at the lounge door. She welcomes me with a bright smile, her movements more open than one will typically expect from a passing client to have.
Oh, Isabel! How are you feeling? You looked awfully dreadful yesterday.
Isabella, I'm fine now, ma'am. I appreciate your concern.
I really don't understand why they can't get my name right. It's a fairly common name. It shouldn't be too hard to remember. Regardless, I hand them their copy of the agreement.
Wonderful. Your team works unbelievably fast.
Mom Hannah skims through them, each of them, with a scrutinizing eye, checking for every page for any inconsistencies. Despite this unassuming impression that she gives off, she appears fully aware of what to look for and the process that goes into contracts like these. It is surprising, to be quite honest. I haven't pegged her for someone who is well-versed in these things, yet here she is. She shows some of it to her husband, and he responds with the same passive interest, as if he's more than happy to leave everything to her. I can't tell if it's purely because he believes she's capable enough, doesn't care about what they are buying, or he simply finds such paperwork tedious. Apparently satisfied with what she's seen, Ma'am Hannah claps her hands together before extending it to us for a shake. Rose and I release the breath we've been holding, both of us more than happy to return the gesture.
That settles it then? Are you really sure about this property, ma'am? We could easily find you a bigger one among our current listings. Something with a modern touch?
Something not haunted, perhaps. Rose shoots me a warning glance that clearly says, "Don't make a scene, we're almost there."
Of course, why wouldn't I be? The house is absolutely perfect, isn't it, darling?
A helipad would still be a nice addition.
Yes, well, we'll get there eventually, love. As I was saying, if your partner had the documents yesterday, we would have bought it right there immediately. Shame she didn't have it.
Well, there's still a few necessary documents we need you to sign after, but we'll let you know once we have those finalized. We'll be handling the process for the rest, so don't worry about it, ma'am.
Within a week, I hope. We still have a housewarming party to plan after all. You know how much thought to be put into those things.
There are servants for that, darling.
Love, wouldn't it be better if we handled it ourselves? A personal touch of sorts. It is our housewarming party and our new home.
No more than a week, ma'am. Barring unexpected delay, of course. You can leave it to us.
Excellent. Well then, I'll leave you two to it. It's been a pleasure doing business with you. Oh, and before we forget...
She discreetly folds something into both her hands and winks, a finger raised to her lips, demanding our silence.
I know both of you worked hard on getting us this beautiful mansion. Did I mention we reward our people generously?
But this is... Ma'am, I can't accept this.
Don't you worry, darling. It's a small thing coming from us. Consider this your bonus for a job well done.
She smiles sweetly, like this is simply the most normal thing to do in the world.
Oh, before I forget, my lovely interior designer would appreciate it if you hand her a copy of the floor plan as soon as possible. She's dying to work on the house. You can do that, yes? Here's her contact.
Certainly, ma'am. We'll have it processed as soon as possible.
I knew I could count on you, lovelies. I hope to see you two soon so we can get this closed.
Just like that, transition over and done with. My mind still reeling even after they've left. Other agents will kill to have clients like them. A part of me feels lucky about the fact. No lengthy negotiations, no sudden change of minds, just talk, signatures, a few handshakes here and there, and we're done. The other part, a second ago, we sold a haunted property to 2 innocent clients. Sure, the commission is big enough to continue funding Papa's treatment and hospitalization, big enough to pay for all 4 of my younger siblings' schooling. Heck, it'll keep me away from instant noodle diet for months. I don't have to go back to the mansion as well once the deal has been closed, much to my sanity's relief. But knowing something's in there, and we gave it to the good couple despite that, oh Isabella, the things you'll do to sell a house and get money, Papa won't be happy with that. At least I have good news to tell them the next time I call home. The little lie I told Mama this morning isn't a lie anymore.
Well, there's something. So how does it feel?
How does what feel?
Your first big multi-million-pound sale, silly. I know you've been with us for years, but this has got to be memorable for you.
Memorable is an understatement, Rose.
Come on, show some enthusiasm. They gave us a bonus, too. Aside from the commission and the other bonus boss promised. What are you going to do with it?
I don't know. Send it home, probably?
All of it?
Not everything, of course. Most of it. I'll leave some for my living expenses.
Listen here, Isabella. I'll teach you something I should have told you before we ended your training.
She slings an arm over my shoulders and leans in closer to my ear as though she's about to share a big secret.
It's okay to celebrate from time to time.
I don't get it.
It's simple. Go out, do something for yourself. Throw a party and treat your friends to free food. Didn't you say the last one's some sort of tradition back at home for you? Hello, this is practically a done deal.
Isn't throwing a party a bit excessive?
Your call. I won't say no to an invitation, by the way, in case you really are planning to throw one. A few drinks would be nice too, thank you very much.
I don't think my apartment's big enough for that.
You could always move? Bloody hell, you're working in real estate.
I think I'll pass. That's too much of an unnecessary expense for me. But I did promise Becca free lunch in case the sale goes well.
You go do that. Hold on a sec.
She quickly removes herself from me to answer the phone on her desk. Her tone shifts from playful to professional in the span of a few seconds.
Not a problem, ma'am. I could bring you a copy of the contract if...
Must be another client. Nothing surprising there. She's one of BRC's top agents, regardless of how modest she appears. A saleswoman through and through. I, on the other hand, have very little knack for it. Of course, I learned eventually I had to, but someone else will, without a doubt, do a better job. Once, though, I'm in a drunken stupor. Rose told me a story of what could have been. Years ago, wide-eyed, young, and brimming with yet-to-be fulfilled dreams and ambitions, she was a term or two away from a nursing degree. Out of courtesy, I never pressed on that matter further. But perhaps it is where the sense of fondness started. A small connection due to one similar experience in our respective lives, of goals we both let us pass by because of the circumstances we're in.
I'd be happy to discuss this over tea, ma'am. All right, I'll be there. Thank you.
New client?
Reassigned. Have you heard from Mark at all?
Not since the first visit to the mansion. Why? No news from the HR yet?
None at all. Boss thinks he ran away. I doubt it, though. He's too much of a wimp for that. There must be another reason. Who knows? Anyway, I've got to meet this one. I'll see you later.
She throws a casual wave over her shoulder as she rushes out the office. The lunchtime bell sounds shortly after, followed by the chatter of fellow agents who are heading out for a much-needed break. Ordinarily, there is no need for me to go out, but oversleeping didn't allow me the luxury of packing my own lunch day, if one can consider taking an instant noodle cup from my pantry packing your own lunch. Time to make good on the promise I've made to Becca, I suppose. Or maybe invite Zach and Ash, too. In the end, only Becca and Zach could come. Ash, on the other hand, can't be reached. All my calls went straight to his voicemail. He's at it again, right here today, gone the next day. Oh well, his loss. We've agreed to meet at the nearby cafe, the same one I usually frequent with Becca because it's cheap and they give away free bread around closing time. I've never saying no to free stuff. Quaint, a little old-fashioned though, looks a bit out of place amidst the city's tall buildings, but we love it all the same. Much like the small building's facade, the interior carries an antiquated charm to it. Vintage art pieces and a row of shelves boasting an extensive collection of books cover the walls. It would have been nice to hang out here for hours on end, but even on a weekend, the place is still packed with people. Thankfully, Becca and Zach have already found seats and is engaged in some casual chatter when I arrive. It's strange seeing the two of them without Ash accompanying the other. They've never been particularly close. Sure, they all talk when we meet, laugh at the same thing when there's something funny, but there's distance, the kind born purely out of differing interests. That, or Zach's simply afraid of Becca. It's not impossible, and I wouldn't blame him if he is. He might be the tallest in our group, but everyone knows that means nothing against Becca's temper. Even I am a little scared of her.
Becca! Well, you seem to be in a better mood today. What happened? I know that smile, Belle. Come on, still.
Don't rush me. I'm still trying to find the proper words for this. Let's order food first, okay?
A waitress comes by to take her order. On a normal day, me and Becca will order a hearty serving of their special vegetarian sorties. Zach takes everything and anything with a good helping of meat, sausage, or potatoes in it. But today's a good day. Great, even. It's not wrong to indulge a little, right?
Special. For the three of us.
Even the person jotting her order down looks surprised at today's meal choices. She rates it, nevertheless, and leaves without a comment. Becca furrows her brows in consternation, her mouth halfway open, ready to let loose a string of reprimands.
Don't worry. It's my treat.
The glare Becca sends me reminds me of the one I got from Mama when I punched a kid bullying my younger brother 18 summers ago. Naturally, I never did it again after she made me apologize the next day. But Becca's far from being my mom. A small sheepish grin is enough to dissolve that frown into a defeated sigh. Food arrives in the middle of a funny story from Zach, putting the rest of the conversation on hold as we are served each our order. It isn't anything fancy. Pan-roasted sea bass with citrus-dressed asparagus and a portion of mashed potatoes on the side. Or at least that's what the daily special board says. Never did pay any attention to it whenever I come here, since they price whatever is written way above what I'm willing to spend on a food in a single day.
Oh, good. I'm so hungry, I think I'm dying.
You're always hungry.
Hey! Not all the time.
Let me guess. You skipped breakfast again.
Not on purpose. I may have overslept by a few seconds today.
Right then. Stop stalling, Isabella. What's this about?
Let us say, Rebecca. She wouldn't be inviting us out if it wasn't worth hearing.
Well, we're waiting.
I'm treating you guys to a once-in-a-century thing.
An expectant grin breaks out my face, except...
I'm sorry, say that again.
And this is important because...
Becca only raises an eyebrow at me, while Zach appears like he didn't get the punchline to another lame joke Ash made, and is desperately searching for someone to explain it. Oh, bummer. Maybe I should rephrase it?
Okay, let me do that again. We should celebrate because Ash Hole is totally missing out on my first treat ever.
I'm sure Ash has his reasons.
He hasn't even apologized for calling...
A half-hearted complaint without any meaning to it, done more out of habit than with any real malice or hatred to it. After all the times he's called me a scaredy cat, the word itself has completely lost its meaning. Imagine that! There's disappointment now, of course, and knowing he's off who knows where while we're having fun here. Sheesh, don't just disappear off the face of the planet without telling anyone.
You aren't really upset about that, are you?
No, not really. But it's his loss for missing this once-in-a-century event.
He did seem to be in a hurry when we parted last night after the movie. Said he got a big lead on his case.
Oh, yeah, he mentioned that. But you know how he is about his work. Everything except his unholy love for bad puns is a secret.
He never mentioned those to me.
I ain't surprised. He's more tight-lipped with this one. Something about it being bigger than what they usually let him handle.
Don't worry, Becca. I'll make him talk.
It's not necessary. He'll talk when he wants, and if what Zach says is true, it's better if we keep our noses out of this. His job isn't exactly a walk in the park. We'll only get in the way if we—
Well, he better treat us to something other than ice cream once he solves that one. That's Scrooge.
But that's not really why you asked us out, right?
She gestures at our food with her hand as though it's something she's not willing to touch until I give her answers.
I promised I'd treat you to a free lunch if the mansion got sold, yeah?
Understanding dawns on her face. The bewildered look she's been sporting changes into something close to
You
delight.
should have just told us. No need for all this fancy, secrety stuff.
It was supposed to be a surprise. I made a promise, didn't I?
I wasn't expecting you'd really do—
Well, it's already here. If you don't want to eat it, I'll just—
I begin to gather their plates to my side, the food in each still untouched. A laugh almost escapes my mouth with the way Zach's expression quickly changes to disappointment. Becca's hand interrupts me just as I'm about to pull her plate closer to me.
No, please leave it, ma'am. We're simply humbled by your utmost generosity, considering you're as much of a Scrooge as Ashton.
Don't compare me to him. He's the one who looks like he's about to have an episode whenever he has to spend more than £5.
I honestly wish there's a way for you to see the look on your face when you haggle. Remind me to record it once. I think it's something like this.
She puffs out her cheek and furrows her brow in an imitation of how I supposedly appear. I don't like it like that at all. Do I? She drops the act after the flat look I shoot her. Her laughter dies, but the playful gleam in her eye remains.
To be serious, though, this means you're gonna be okay now, yeah?
For a while. It just means we won't have to worry about paying for the treatment and the bills. But that's all that matters, right? I mean, we're not yet sure if the new medication will produce better results, but Mama and the doctor said Papa's responding well to the treatment. That's one reason to be hopeful, and with the money, I'm sure it's just a matter of time.
Saying it this way sounds as if I'm trying to convince myself. But no matter what, I allow myself to fully smile, genuine and uninhibited. It's strange having to talk about this with other people, even those who have known you long enough. But today, simply things feel a whole lot lighter with them here. Lunch passes in an enjoyable fashion. A laughter here, a playful jab there. Most of it is spent on catching up on the others' new projects or whatever keeps us busy these days. Something we couldn't afford to do the day before, taking into account what happened. Even Becca's surprisingly chatty. Is there something in the sea bass we ate? Zach, though, appears less energetic today. While he's far from being the life of the party, he's definitely not the type to keep quiet in a conversation with his friends. Apart from a few inputs, he's been silent the entire time. If Becca notices...
Are you sure you're not feeling under the weather, Zachary?
Huh? No, I'm okay. No worries, Rebecca.
Doesn't sound okay to me.
It's okay. I might be feeling a little bummed out today, but I'm sure this will pass.
Is it about the reviews this morning?
A pained expression crosses Zach's face, and almost immediately Becca retreats in her inquiry as though the man's look is enough of an answer for her. I look between the two of them. Did I miss something? What happened this morning? Did I stumble upon a big secret? This is why I don't like waking up late.
About those, huh?
Sorry, I just happened to check on some sites this morning.
Nah, it's a very sensitive topic in the first place. I should have expected it.
What reviews?
Becca glances at Zach, her emotions unsure eyes asking for his consent on the matter. Although there's a small desire to keep asking on my part, I don't dare voice it out. With Zach, it's always been better to wait, let him speak on his own. Becca too, to some extent, although with her explosions of temper are more common. In the end, he simply answers with a momentary shift of his shoulders, gesturing for her to go on with a tilt of his head.
It's his movie.
That doesn't explain anything. Stop dangling the information, Becca!
Zachary, I'm not the one supposed to be telling her about this. At the end of the day, it's still your documentary.
Is it something bad?
Not bad per se. You guys don't need to dwell on it much.
Bad? Listen here. I wouldn't trivialize what those bowheads wrote if I were you. They're ruining other people's jobs.
From how her tone rises in anger, it seems as like she's the one slighted, not Zach. A snicker escapes me, which I promptly stamp down on as soon as she sends me a hard look.
This isn't a laughing matter, Isabella. Some bowbag just insulted him.
Calm down, Rebecca. Those are just reviews, and it happens a lot.
I do not ken about you two, but calling the entire film an out-and-out drivel, you're better off watching an educational kids' TV show, and worst 1.5 hour of my life, among other things, isn't exactly a critique any decent movie reviewer would say. If you could call that a critique. Did we even watch the same film?
Well, maybe I ain't cut out for it. Better stick with my photography or something. If nothing else, this helped me open my eyes to what I can and can't do.
You're giving up.
It wasn't a
It
question.
was just something experimental I did on my free time anyway. It's no big deal.
But you worked on it for months.
Doesn't look like it matters for those people.
Don't say that!
My palm strikes the table, sending the tableware on top clinking against each other. I haven't noticed even when I've risen from my seat. But here I am, chest heaving, looking down at him in the same manner a teacher will look at any unruly student. Becca's probably proud. I don't mean to yell, but there are some things people like Zach aren't supposed to say. How exasperating. He, of all people, should know.
If you give up now, how do you know you won't make a name for yourself creating films in the future? It's just a review.
Except they're pretty well-known critics.
Why does that matter? They aren't the ones calling the shots on this. Isn't that why they have a committee? Right, Becca?
An amused gleam is in her eyes when I turn to her. What does she find so entertaining in this situation? Help me here. Your friend's about to quit his passion for a petty reason. I haven't read what those people wrote against his work, but a few scathing words shouldn't be enough to discourage someone. I should know, after all.
Failing means you're playing. Not that I'm saying it's bad. I've seen it from start to finish, and I know for myself what you created isn't something people should scoff at. I don't know anything about filming or photography. Hell, I don't have an inkling of artistry in me except for those doodles I make for class, but I know what I want. Look at Isabella. It's not every day you see her all riled up like this.
Whatever I'm about to say gets lost in my tongue as a flush of embarrassment blooms across my face.
It was a heat of the moment thing. And anyway, I'll be very angry with you if you quit. What about the exhibit?
What exhibit?
Classified information.
Even if I bring you your favorite tonight?
Nope, not a chance.
Oh, come on! I thought we aren't supposed to have secrets.
A burst of laughter comes from Zach.
Thanks, you two. I might need some time alone to myself for a while. Just to think about things, how I'll go from here, that sort of stuff. Hey, I'm not quitting, Bella. Don't give me that face.
There is no face at all, only a poor imitation of a puppy dog eyes, if you can call that one.
Promise?
I'll be damned if I break any promise I make to you guys. Besides, you're right. It's too early to say anything right now. What's night ain't for another week?
And that's all the answer I need from him. As sentimental as it sounds, there's familiar in knowing that another person you won't know take the same path you've walked. It's not like it's over for me, though. I've still got time. I can still come back. Do my own thing. Do what I really want to do. Surely, once Papa recovers, once I'm done with everything. Inside my bag, my phone buzzes unexpectedly, breaking the pleasant afternoon lull. The screen shows Rose.
Hey, Isabella. You at the office?
Ha ha. Very funny, Rose. I'm hanging up.
Don't. I'm kidding. BRC says the floor plan copies are ready for Miss McCullough to pick up.
She states that as if it already explains everything. Then, out of the blue, she launches a long rant about the awful state of Luxborn's streets, betraying her cheerful greeting. All of which she says in a single breath, that I can barely keep up and make out a single word. I stay quiet, if only to avoid becoming the next subject of her frustration. She's similar to Becca in that
We're
regard.
stuck in horrendous traffic right now. Bloody stupid drivers.
When she has finally run out of things to complain about and stops, what she says next still has none of what I'm hoping to hear from her. Just a quick mumbled plea for me to meet the right interior designer in her stead,
Anyway, I'll leave it to you. Bye. Thanks.
Classic Rose, she ends the call without even asking for my input. The sky is cloudless, and the noontime sun is beating down on the hard concrete when we depart from the cafe. A day after the open house, the Wrights were soon seen securing the mansion's purchase at the Briar Realty at Luxborn office. Parties involved in the transaction were surprised at how fast it went, but agreed it was to be expected in dealing with influential people like the Wrights. Happy over the sale, Isabella Santos treated her friends to lunch. Branching tree. It's far from unbearable, but it's enough to put most people in a fickle mood or make them vulnerable for catching something. No wonder we have staff members going AWOL lately, not to mention my boss's mercurial moods. I can't believe I'm saying this, but I want our usually cloudy weather back. For all the gripes about the unpredictable weather, though, the streets of Luxborn remain constantly busy. The hurried tapping of shoes against the pavement and the inane chatter coming from the lunchtime crowd fills the humid afternoon air. A small reminder of the things we've yet to do, regardless of how much I want to return to the comfort of my bed. Back to Briar Realty for me, Zach to a meeting with a magazine publisher featuring luxury houses, and Beck to lesson plans and books at home. But more than once, I catch her sneaking along and glance over at something displayed on a shop window. Did she want to buy something? Maybe I can get it for this Christmas. I turn my head at the last shop she checked out. A fleeting glimpse. The world stills. She looks at me, eyes hollow, gaze piercing and boring into my very soul, like a set of chains to keep my whole body still. There are no shadows or whispers this time, only a plea, a hum, low and indistinct, compelling me, beckoning me, intent on dragging me to the void beyond the glass. I don't dare move. My heart hammers against my ribs, each beat and every thump screaming at me to look away and make a run for it. But I can't. I couldn't. All of my limbs feel heavy, while on my own breathing strains in the face of her calls.
Leave me alone.
Her mouth is stretched in a grin, wide and unpleasant. The panic building up in my chest forces me to take a tentative step back. I try not to stare at the decaying flesh, the blood streaming from the gaping wounds on her arm or nailless fingers. I don't want this. Not like this. Not after I got what I want for Papa.
Oh no, stop. Leave me alone.
Her face contorts into something twisted and she lets out a wail, sharp and utterly unforgiving. Rage. There's only to be hatred and bitterness, as if the very notion of turning away from her is an offense in itself.
Please! I don't want this!
Before I know it, I'm stumbling backward, my own throat hoarse from screams I don't even notice coming out of my own mouth. The back of my feet catches on a loose stone, sending me sprawling on the ground. The resulting pain completely jolts me out of my haze, blurring my mind. For a little while, my surroundings appear unfamiliar until Becca's face swims into my vision. A look of concern is on her face, and her hands are gripping my arms tight. Even Zach appears beside himself with worry while he stands around her, acting as a shielding as a small crowd of onlookers already forming around us.
What happened?
Bella, you okay?
My mouth opens and closes, but nothing comes out. The words refuse to form. On impulse, I sneak a swift glance at the display window. She's gone. Yet the foreboding feeling hasn't left me. My hands are shaking as I push myself off the ground, weakened limbs relying solely on reflex and muscle memory. Something icy has made its home in the pit of my stomach. I want to throw up. Anything to get the wretched sensation out of my gut.
You are screaming, having a fit! Zach, call someone!
No, don't. I'm good. I need to get to the office. Rose, the floor plans. Someone's going to pick it up. I'll see you later.
Careful. Don't stand up yet. Stay put, Isabella. Zach, you watch over her for me. I'll call for someone.
I attempt to smile to put her at her ease, but it likely comes off as a grimace. After a pleasant lunch with Zach Steele and Rebecca Gales, Isabel Santos received an urgent phone call from Rose Cooper asking her to meet with the Wright's interior designer. Left with no choice, she headed back to BRC, but on her way, one of the shops she passed by, a familiar smile greeted her. Gently, I pushed her hands off my shoulders. My knees are still trembling, but I can still stand. Leave. Leave me. Stay away, far from here. Away! The humidity stifling, even everyone's stares are unnerving, and Becca's and Zach's concerns are suffocating. I want to be away from here. I break into a run. I wish I hadn't left my bed this morning. It's easy to fall in a cycle of negative thinking, with only the occasional drips of water on the sink and the whirring of the fan blades to keep me company. The room is devoid of any other light source apart from the one streaming from the hallway and the windows. Even with the clutter I've accumulated over the years, the room feels a whole lot bigger than it commonly is. I hug my knees closer as a group passes by outside. Loud. So loud. If only there's a way to tune everything out to keep my head from replaying every image, every sound of her. Her screams, her awkward gait as she reaches for me, her bone-chilling smile, her pleas for, "Enough! That's enough!" A shiver passes over me, though it's not from the hair still hanging damp against my back, nor the draft that enters the room from the windows I've left open. My gaze shifts over the letters sitting on the coffee table. Its edges flutter innocuously as the wind touches it. Funny how an ordinary-looking piece of paper can bring this much trouble. The impulse to throw it away or rip it to pieces is still there. I can easily do it, but after that, what? Will she leave me? What about those people who have already seen it? Will they be okay? This uncertainty nods at me, knowing she's real and might also go after the people I care about. I just wish someone would listen. Leave me! The abrupt break in the silence makes me nearly jump out of my skin. Blindly, I fish the gadget from the mess of cushions and papers beside me, where I've carelessly thrown it earlier before taking a shower. Ash's name flashes brightly on the screen. Is he calling back because of this afternoon?
Thank you so much for spamming my inbox with the same message, Scaredy Cat.
Hey, Ash.
What's wrong?
I just had a long day. The couple who bought the house wanted us to finish processing the papers within the week. It's a little hectic, but we'll manage.
Really? You sold it?
Don't sound so surprised. I told you, you don't stand a chance. The rights won't take no for an answer. You've been on the losing end from the very start. Ha!
Whoever said I was interested in the house in the first place?
But you said...
His snigger comes off as annoying to my ears, and I fight the urge to end the call, right there and then. Stupid Ash.
And just so you know, I'm not treating you to a separate celebration. Or ever.
No, that's just unfair. And here I was looking something up for you. Didn't you say you wanted to talk to Andrew?
I pause. I did say that, but I didn't think he'd actually go through the trouble, considering how much he scoffed at the whole topic in the first place.
Is he okay with that?
Totally. Besides, I need to ask him about something. I might as well do it soon. What do you say you come with me tomorrow morning?
Well, there's no harm in it, I suppose. I've got a free day anyway.
Great, I'll just pick you up. Don't oversleep.
Don't compare me to you. I'm not the one who sleeps like a rock.
Another round of chuckles come from him. Oh, I will live for the day he'll stop making fun of me. Just wait, you asshole. As I'm about to press the button to end the call, he clears his throat.
Isabella?
The diffident tone in his voice sends my eyebrows shooting up into my hairline. Is the world ending today?
Did you forget something?
Do you think you... Never mind. Good night.
He hangs up instantly. Rude. Completely rude. I didn't even get to thank him. The busy tone, though, muffled, echoes through the receiver. No one is saying this will work. Even I am doubtful it will. But right now I'll take anything. Anything to get out of this nightmare. Sleep comes easier tonight. Ash and Frey reminds Isabella Santos of their meeting with Professor Andrew Clark tomorrow, a respected professor with a doctorate degree in sociology, as a former researcher specializing in ethnography and psychology. Ashton assured his friend can help with her worries regarding the mansion's rumors. And for the first time in a long time, I dream of clear skies, of unrestrained laughter from children playing in the streets, and of small, cramped dwellings. To an outsider, this sight does not paint a pretty picture. However, this to me is home. It's now Sunday. Morning dawns bright and clear the following day. Although the air still feels muggy and I miss the chilly autumn weather, it's one of those rare weekends when I'm up even before my alarm rings. If it isn't for Ash's call last night, I'll probably sleep in. When 9 a.m. rolls around, I'm already heading downstairs where Ash is waiting for me in his car. His hair's a disheveled mess, eyes drowsy, and overall looking like he's hurried to get out of bed. Or fell out of it. Or both. He looks adorably rumpled this way. But I'm not going to tell him that. It'll only bloat his unbearable ego.
Good morning, Ash.
He makes a motion with his finger around his ear. Tone it down.
Can you even drive?
He answers me with a slight raise of his hand, a yawn and nothing more. He's never been particularly fond of mornings, and for that I'm thankful to every god in the universe, less mental capacity for him to make fun of me. Ha! There's the reason why mornings are my favorite. It doesn't take long for us to reach our destination, the small cafe situated in Luxbourne's busiest street, the same one I often visit with Becca for its cheap food. I've never gone here on a Sunday, and it's striking how different it appears without the usual weekend and Saturday rush. The atmosphere especially reminds me of something we also have back home, near the university I used to attend. I wonder what happened to it. It was being renovated before I left, so I never got to visit one last time. The place always has a calming effect on me. But today, despite standing in a place similar to it, anxiety easily washes over me as soon as I step out of the car. I'm quite used to dealing with people I've never met before thanks to my work, but still, I don't know him. In spite of the fact that both Ash and Rebecca have vouched for him, what will he think of me and my story? What if he thinks I'm crazy? Hell, even my own friends thought so. I draw in a breath to quell the panic beginning to rise in me. Oh well, only one way to find out. A few hesitant steps forward, and then Ash is suddenly pulling me back by my elbow.
Hold on, scaredy cat, not too fast.
Without warning, he flicks my forehead hard.
That hurts! What was that for?
He's already walking away when I look up, and I hurry to catch him up to him, puzzled. I really don't understand this guy. At least explain why you're flicking other people's foreheads all of a sudden. So rude.
Get yourself together, will you? He's not going to bite. He's very accommodating, too.
I wasn't scared of him, or anything.
You don't look like it. Didn't sound like you were okay last night either.
Huh?
What was that last one? Hey! Don't just ignore me!
All questions and retorts die in my mouth once he opens the door to the shop. A cast iron bell attaches to it chimes softly, announcing our arrival. The smell of freshly brewed coffee welcomes us as soon as we step in. Like the usual, several tables and chairs have been set up for the patrons. but most of the customers present at the moment have foregone them in favor of the more comfortable throw pillows and the beanbags the staff has laid out on the floor. Becca would love to know they have something like this on Sundays. She's been complaining about how uncomfortable the library chairs are for a long time now. Ash leads me to a secluded spot near the window where an old man, probably in his 50s or 60s, is seated enjoying a brew and
Professor Clark! It's just Andrew now. I'm no longer your professor, Detective Inspector Frey.
This guy, Andrew, looks up from his book and gives him a smile. A sheepish look crosses Ash's face at the older man's admonishment. More unusual, to say the least, is seeing him appear like a parent has just scolded him. But it suggests a familiarity between them, one that goes beyond what someone expects from a simple student and mentor. With another warm smile, he gestures for us to take the empty seats opposite him.
Have you been waiting long?
Quite some time, but I come here early on weekends. Best time to get their first serving of bear claws. They're the only place that serves it here. I took the liberty of ordering for you two. I hope you don't mind. I thought it'd be best to talk over a decent helping of coffee.
Soon enough, a waiter brings us 2 more cups and sets down a basket of pastries.
Aren't you going to introduce the lady?
Ah, right. Sorry. Isabella, this is Prof. Andrew. He's one of my professors back at the university. Andrew, this is Isabella Santos.
Santos. Portuguese? Spanish? Brazilian? Mexican?
Filipina, actually. It's a pleasure to meet you, Professor.
Ah, your name carries a lot of history, Miss Santos. Just Andrew is fine. Don't do what Ashton's doing. He doesn't listen to this old man.
He doesn't listen to anyone more like it. The awkward tension typically present in first meetings dissipates after that. I was expecting someone strict and to an extent someone severe, but Professor Andrew Clark is definitely the opposite of what I have in mind. The more personable kind, similar to a grandfather who will dote you at family gatherings. It's obvious why Ash has taken a liking to him.
Ashton tells me there's something you wish to discuss that I could help with. Let's hear it then.
I give Ash a hesitant glance, but he just nods and gestures towards Andrew with his head. He's leaving this to me. It's my story to tell after all. I keep it short and concise. I found a letter in this old mansion, now cursed, exactly as I told Ash and Zach when they asked about it. I don't mention the name of the place. No use saying it now that someone else legally owns it. No use dragging other people into my problems.
I'm sure it's that letter I found, but I don't know anymore. I just want to know how to escape this nightmare.
Of course. We're talking about the one in Anslem Village, aren't we?
How did you...
Don't look so surprised. There's only one place popular enough here if we're going to talk about hauntings. I once had a colleague who wrote about it and the urban legends surrounding the place. Years worth of study, but fascinating nonetheless. It's a shame he passed away at such a young age. He would have done a much better job at explaining topics like this one compared to me. Ashton here might disagree, but it's an interesting topic in sociology, if you care to have an open mind.
Studying the science and theory behind it is completely different from outright believing in it.
You don't believe in those stories, sir?
Now, this isn't a question of belief. All I'm saying is things like these speak a lot about a place's culture and history, and it's not just limited to ghosts. Monsters, gods, you name it. Even you, Miss Santos.
What about me?
How you respond to these stories. It tells a lot about you and your upbringing. In the same way it tells me why our detective inspector here finds such topics absurd. Interesting, isn't it?
My head is starting to spin from all this information. I'm not the smartest person around, but I understand what he's trying to get at, and I think it's still too much to take in at once. I look to Ash for help, but his eyebrows are drawn in a frown. If he keeps staring at that like his cup, I'm pretty sure he'll crack it.
There's still something you're not telling.
Didn't I tell you everything the other day?
Yeah, but you mentioned the rights. Then you proceeded to drop the topic right after. What's with that?
They don't have anything to do with this.
Rights? Luke and Hannah, right?
Yeah, they're the ones who got the place.
Ah, I'm not surprised. They're the kind who gets what they want when they set their eyes on it, from what I've heard. Word gets around, especially with a pretty well-known couple like them.
A heavy sigh escapes my lips. Popular or not, they're just my clients, albeit a little pushy, but just clients. End of story. I wish they'll stop pestering me about them. What is it again that Becca does when dealing with a particularly difficult child? The pesky, annoying kind, I wish I could remember. I certainly can use the same trick right about now.
Ashton, look here. I know you're trying to help, but the deal's almost already closed.
Alright.
The papers are being prepared. Once it's done, it's over. I'm just their agent.
And when is that happening?
When what? Is there even a purpose to this line of questioning?
Your working relationship with them. When's it going to end?
About a week from now? It depends on how long the papers will take, but they want us to rush it.
Really? You're absolutely sure about that?
Yes, really. Unless they want to buy a house again and want me and Rose to be their agent. If yes, then I don't see a problem with it. Now stop annoying me about it.
Don't accept it.
What? Why? It's my job.
Oh lord, even my younger siblings aren't this difficult to deal with. Then again, Ash is far from a younger sibling to me. If he'll only spell it out, I'll surely understand. We won't even be having this conversation right now. That's how it is, right? Find an even ground, talk about it like the adults were ought to be. It wasn't like this before. But somewhere along the way, something has changed in us as people, as friends. I wish there's a way I can tell when or why. Instead, I'm left searching blindly for reasons. The next thing we know, we'll be drifting further and further apart. How frustrating.
Now, kids, settle down. We're not going to solve anything by shouting.
Sorry, Sir Andrew.
And we're not going to solve anything either if you keep omitting things.
Speak for yourself. I'm not the only one doing it.
You'll have to forgive my former student, Miss Santos. He's always been the curious kind. Many people think he's lazy, but it's actually the opposite. I see that hasn't changed.
Oh, really? How is he back when he was your student? I'm sorry, I need to ask. He doesn't talk much about that.
And there's a reason why. Please don't.
Tried to sleep on the first day of class. He didn't repeat it after what I made him do when I caught him. Students like him are the easiest to deal with, once you know what piques their interest. I'd have to say, he's one of the very few who's actually interested in the subject, though. But there was this one time when...
By the end of our small conversation, Ash looks up like he's praying for the ground to swallow him up. He's never been one to talk about himself. What I know about him are mostly bits and pieces I've gleaned over the years. He's an atrocious singer, he's bad at art, and he has personal vendetta against mornings. Now it feels like he isn't that hard to figure out after all. It's past noon and Andrew has to leave us for another meeting, but before we separate...
Santos, a word of advice. If this is truly what you think it is, just keep in mind that when it comes to cases such as this, they aren't always what they seem.
Naturally, the mansion in the letter was brought up again several times during our talk. And though Ash is right, and that Andrew offers a different perspective, he has left me with more questions than answers instead. What is she? What does she want from me? Is she ever going to leave? They all continue to bug me after we've left the coffee shop. I don't even notice when Ash takes a different turn on our way back.
Where are we going? You can drop me off at the park.
Guess. You have 3 chances.
I'm serious, Ash. Where are we going?
He doesn't answer, but shortly he stops his car in front of a small, nondescript food stall a little ways from the movie house. If I'm not paying closer attention, I'll miss it without a doubt. He motions for me to wait as he gets off the car and walks in its direction. Sheesh, if you want to buy something, just say it. No need to make yourself look mysterious. It makes you look more like a dork than cool. The wait isn't long, however. Soon he's walking back holding 2 fish-shaped cones in both hands. Ice cream parfait across of the 2. By the time he's back inside the car, I've given up any effort to figure out what he bought. Not that it looks bad, it actually looks quite cute.
Here, take it.
I have to move my head back a little when he thrusts at me to avoid the ice cream and the fruit toppings from ending up on my nose.
What's this for?
My arm's getting tired. 5, 4, 3, 2...
With a wary glance, I take it off his hands. I still don't understand why there's a need for ice cream today. Nevertheless, I take a small bite. It's actually pretty good. It must have shown in my face because he chuckles as soon as I take another
Saw
one.
the place open the other day when we watched Zach's movie. Thought I should give it a try. It doesn't seem like a bad place to get food from time to time.
And you're giving me free ice cream because...
Do I need to have a reason?
Are you really going to ask me that?
Here's the thing with Ash and Frey. He does not just treat anyone to free food just because he feels like it. He's that much of a Scrooge. Hell, he even asked me to teach him how to haggle once. Haggle, of all the people who'd asked me that. I'd have expected such a request from Becca, but Ash, not at all. If I'm going to be honest, he looks a bit constipated with that expression on his face right now. I think he's starting to regret after buying this.
The other day? The movie with Zach and Rebecca? Rebecca's there, yeah, I think so. Yeah, anyway, during the movie, we, that's to say, shit. Should have written down something first.
Get to the point, Ashton.
Right. I'm sorry.
What?
I'm sorry for, not getting to the point. I'm sorry for the other day. I got carried away. I said things that upset you. I shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
Okay? That's all? That's all you're going to say? You're not still angry, are you?
You didn't have to buy me anything. A simple sorry would have been enough.
I bite into the cone again, a small attempt to keep myself occupied and relieve the heat crawling up my face. It doesn't work, but at least I don't have to look at him. Why I'm feeling embarrassed over such a thing as an apology, I have no idea. It's not like it wasn't called for. They were being mean, especially him, and in that fraction of a second it hits me. He skipped his day off just for today. I should be the one apologizing and thanking him. Silence is an awkward company while we finish our respective snacks. There are words for this, for people like us, for understandings and sentiments like this. Yet, in this instant, they don't come. As promised, he drops me off at the park right after, phrases unsaid still hanging heavily in the air. In this weather, the city park gives off a lazier and more languid vibe than usual. Where children are usually seen running around and playing, there are now people leaning back on their picnic blankets, simply enjoying the afternoon sun. The smell of food drifts from nearby food carts, and if the wind blows in the right direction, one will catch the whiff of freshly trimmed grass. Maybe I should try walking home today, to get my mind off things? To try and find the words somehow. I haven't done that in a while.
Thanks, Ash, for today.
No problem. Say hi to Rebecca for me.
Yeah, I will.
Even so, I linger. We both do. A mild, humid breeze brings the smell of fresh, dried leaves, warm earth, and a far-off distant memory. A false starts and awkward first meetings. Same place, same people playing the same parts, though not necessarily the same time. Funny how, of all the days, my brain chooses to remember it now.
Wait, Belle.
Ash exits his car. His strides are unsteady when he approaches me, or maybe this is uncertainty showing. I'm not quite sure. He's never looked uncertain to me before. Always calm, always sure, always collected. He stops a short distance from me, close enough that he's within an arm's reach, but just far enough for his voice to be heard over decent small talk, if this is what that's going to be. He fumbles for something in his pockets.
Here, catch.
The small bag leans cleanly on my outstretched hands before it hits the ground. I raise an eyebrow at him, and he responds by shrugging and stuffing both his hands into his pockets. Somewhere to the side, he finds an interesting spot to look at. Sometimes you have to wait, Papa said long ago. For once, this time, I listen. His voice is halting, hesitant when he finds it again.
My mom used to make me carry around one of those when I was young. To ward off evil and bring you luck, she said. I don't believe in this stuff now, but if it makes you feel safe since you're a total scaredy cat, then I guess it's okay to give you one to carry around.
Perhaps at the moment, there aren't any words for it. I've never been good with those. But right now, I can thank him in the best way I know how. I close the short distance separating us. And lightly, in place of phrases one can't spin together, or answers too early to seek out, I lean over and give him a little peck on the cheek. The touch is short, fleeting, the kind that speaks volumes of boundaries we don't often cross as friends. Nevertheless, the thought is there. It lingers, in the gentle autumn wind that passes, in the empty space separating us when we step back and look up at him with a gentle smile. It's the easiest to express gratefulness this way, isn't it? At least with my own family, that's the case. For the two of us, I'm not quite sure. Did he understand? After all, gratitude is considerably harder to put into words. When you've spent the latter half of your friendship tethering between good-natured jests and ruffling each other's feathers. Seconds pass before he clears his throat. His face has gone remarkably red. Whether from the heat or something else, I can't quite tell. But he understands. I know he does. Because the smile on him when he finally meets my eye is the gentlest I've seen him show.
I, gotta go. Got some reports I forgot to file the other day.
Yeah. See you around. Thanks for the ice cream. And the charm.
Don't lose it. You won't find one here again if you do.
I won't. I might move like I have 2 left feet, but I know how to take care of my own stuff. I'm not a total klutz.
I know.
In Belle? Remember that one time? Devlin Court?
Oh, I do, with all the clarity in the world.
You... At the time, when we... What I'm trying to say is that you can rely on me. If something... anything happened. Not the exact same thing, of course, but... you get the idea. I'll be around.
I'll keep that in mind. You're not that bad after all.
Before leaving, he waves at me one last time. The next time we talk, we'll be back to the way we are. Because at the end of the day, that's how things always have moved between us. what we're familiar with, what we're comfortable with. But for all that, it's always easy to put my own faith in him. I just hope. Professor Clark, Ashenfrey, and Isabel Santos met up at a coffee house to discuss the rumors surrounding the mansion. The professor warned the young woman not to take everything at face value. Before parting ways at the park, Ashen gave Isabella a charm that supposedly wars off evil to help put her mind at rest. I just hope I can keep them safe. A light wind blows again, sending dried leaves swirling and the distant smell of earth into the air. For the first time, the sunlight feels less harsh. Maybe a walk is good. I need to stock up my pantry too. Come to think of it, isn't there an art store that has opened recently near the park? Dots. Dots. The cat's name is Berthiel, or at least that's what its collar says. It's an odd name to give a cat, in my opinion. But it speaks Grace much like the one that carries it. It shows in the way he swishes his tail and his eyes follow my hand's every movement. I'm not sure what he finds fascinating in me, to be honest. I'm not the very picture of Grace when he found me, after all. It was a bad idea carrying 2 heavy bags of newly bought art materials and groceries without a helper sure ride home. In hindsight, perhaps, I shouldn't have bought all these at the same time. I didn't even make it past the park to the nearest bus stop. And now I'm suffering underneath the glaring afternoon sun, hunched up on a park bench and dressed in sweat, in the company of a cat curiously watching my every movement. I hope it stays where it is. It's just a black cat, but back at home they're considered ill omens.
Don't look at me like that. I can act graceful as well if I want to.
Not that I've ever acted gracefully in my life, of course. Growing up with router younger brothers and sister does it. But, or maybe it's the opposite. Mama used to call me a little troublemaker before. Ah, well, graceful or not, there's no use moping. A short breather and then I'm off home. Besides, it isn't like the company's bad, even if it's a cat. As long as it doesn't bite or crosses my path.
Where's your owner, anyway?
He has one, doesn't he? An owner? That's what the collar is for, isn't it? A bandage is wrapped on one of its paws, though. I wonder what happened to it. Did he run away?
If you don't have one, I won't be able to take you in. My apartment doesn't allow pets. I tried to bring one home before, a cat. Not black, of course. And Rebecca threw a fit before the landlady could.
I take a small packet of sweets from him, the bag's lying beside me, and pop it open. As I'm about to put it in my mouth, he meows. My hand stops.
Do you want one?
He doesn't meow again as I'm expecting him to, but I take it as his unblinking gaze as a yes. I shift the piece in my palm and hold it out to him warily. He sniffs at it once, twice before. Like a good, properly trained pet, Berthia responds as soon as he's called. Recognition comes as soon as my head snaps up in the direction of the voice. Miss McCollum's hardly impossible to miss with what her height, but most especially in the way she carries herself.
Sorry, did my cat hurt you? Miss Santos, was it? I'm surprised to see you here.
Nice to meet you again, Miss McCollum.
Never mind the pleasantries. Were you harmed in any way? I'm sorry. Berthiel's not exactly fond of other people. Even run away from the veterinarian right now.
Oh no, he was just sniffing my hand earlier.
My Berthiel's a she.
She? All this time I thought, the pause in conversation, if this can be called one, is uncomfortable. We're merely 2 people working different jobs for the same client. Frankly, meetings like this don't happen a lot, and if it does, a simple nodding of heads is enough. Still, trying to be friendly won't hurt, right?
I'm just curious. About your work.
What about it?
There is something guarded in her expression at mention of work, but I push through with my question.
I just want to know how it is to work on a house like the Ermengarde mansion. Is it hard?
I guess she isn't expecting a question like that, though the way her eyebrows shot up tells Annie something.
Because of its age? I wouldn't say it is. It is a challenge, considering the factors me and my team have sought out. But it's a good project. A breath of fresh air from what I usually work on. And I have a good team. Those original fittings, though. It's what I'm absolutely interested in working on. It might be old, but the architecture is magnificent. I'm sure you've seen the stained glass windows in the foyer. Oh, I can already think of so many things I could do with it. But of course, my team will have to double check for necessary repairs here and there. That's probably for the best. It's easy to break some key elements with a rush restoration job, and who knows what other hidden issues there might be underneath. People can be so careless. I'm sorry, I spoke too much.
No, it's okay. You seem to—
It's not really like that. I'm just lucky to have found work in an interesting field. Anyway, Berthiel's due for her visit to the vet. Nice talking to you, Miss Santos. I wish you luck with what you're planning to work on. It seems like a big project, too.
She gestures with her head toward the bag of her bench, the ones filled with stuff I've recently bought from the art store.
It's a project for a friend, actually.
All the same. Good luck regardless.
I watch her as she leaves, though she stops shortly before crossing the threshold separating the park and the street. She faces me again, looking like there's something she's forgotten to say.
By the way, about the Ermengarde mansion, with my clients, it's the rights. I mean, I hope you don't mind me asking, but has the deal been finalized?
There's still a few papers they need, but the house is more or less theirs now.
Ah, thank you. That's all I needed to know.
Wait, about the mansion,
The letter, the same one they saw. Whoever she is, she's asking for help. Someone, I want to tell Miss McCullough that the urban legends aren't just legends anymore. They're real. Dots. She isn't going to believe me. Or she's not going to believe me.
Don't mind me. I need to go too. Have a good day, Miss McCullough.
I hastened to pick up all the bags I've left on the bench and ran as far as my legs can take me. In that moment, what I'm carrying in my hands weighs far lighter than the overwhelming guilt trying to consume me. Home. I want to be home, anywhere where I won't be reminded of the house, of her, of my own cowardice. The food tastes less appetizing tonight. While looking for a lost cat, Isabel Santos met the interior designer, Marianne McCall, by chance. She also happened to be the cat's owner. The two were seen having small talk before Isabel abruptly left. A pity. One will think that someone who's been on a continuous binge of instant noodles will find a home-cooked meal like this enjoyable. But it isn't. Hunger isn't what gnawing me tonight, neither are my sore muscles. TV runs loudly in the background, but what it says barely registers in my brain. It's hard when the thing you keep trying to forget keeps returning to the forefront of your mind. It distracts you, eats at you, devours you. I wish this would stop. I wish I wasn't the only one who picked it up. I wish it was somebody else.
In other local news, a woman was found dead in her home yesterday evening. Luxbourne police officials are currently investigating the crime scene, but has classified the case as homicide.
Huh?
The victim, identified as Rose Pamela Cooper, 33 years old, working as a real estate agent. Discovered
Rose?
lying in a pool of blood in her two-bedroom flat with the words "Help me" repeatedly written on the wall.
No. No. This isn't what I want. This isn't supposed to happen. None of this is supposed to happen. No one's supposed to die. Those are just stories, right? Legends. That's what everyone kept telling me, so why and I... Immediately I rushed to my study table in search of my phone. My hand, cold from dread, clings tightly to it as soon as I touch its edges. A piece of folded paper, the letter lying unassumingly beside it, slips to the floor when I pick the device up, but I pay it no mind. There are more important things. Right now, I need to call her. I need to call her. I was with her yesterday. I was just with her yesterday and she was okay. No, it isn't Rose, I'm sure of it. I just talked to her yesterday and a sob escapes me and hot tears begin to blur my vision. One after another, they trickle down, weighed by the same very guilt I refuse to admit I've been carrying from the start. The same one I've been hiding from. The same one that's put the very people I care about in danger. My hands shake as I navigate to Rose's number on my contacts list. She'll answer, right? That's what she always does. She'll pick it up, tell me to turn down the waterworks, and call me a wuss afterwards.
She'll answer. Please answer, Rose.
Again and again I dial, whispering, praying, pleading.
Come on, Rose. Don't do this to me. Please pick up. I know you're there, Rose. You're not dead. Please tell me you're not.
This adds to the series of deaths and disappearances that has plagued Luxbourne in the recent years. The authorities are currently looking at a possible link with the notorious Anselm Butcher case.
The TV runs loudly in the background. A deafening static sounds from my phone's speakers. But in my ears I can only hear the screams, her pleas, her whispers. We are not safe. October 24th, Monday. A buzzing sensation jolts me awake. News broke of Rose Cooper being found dead in her flat the evening before. The authorities classified the crime as homicide, possibly linked to the notorious Anselm Butcher, a mysterious serial killer who committed brutal murders over the years and left their bodies with his signature phrase, "Help me." My body wants to sleep still to forget what I heard, what I saw last night, but it's there, nudging, prodding at me. Slowly I become aware of how awkward my position is and the aches that accompany sleeping in a curled up position the night before. If I've even slept in at all. The memories are impossible to forget now that Rose is gone. They say it's easier when you say it out loud, instead the words weigh heavier on me each time. She's gone. Gone because of me. Gone because of one letter I was too curious to look at. I should have been more careful. I should have just kept my mouth shut. I should have just destroyed it before anyone else got involved. I should have. Notification light on my laptop blinks incessantly, mockingly when I look at it, as if it's calling me back to a sense of normalcy. I check it nevertheless, out of habit more than anything. If this were one of those typical days, I'd happily comply and get myself to our office. Today my limbs just feel heavy. On one hand, going will keep me busy, take my mind elsewhere. On the other, the place itself is a stark reminder of what my own fears have cost me. Maybe I'll just... My hand automatically moves to press the delete button. What's the use? I won't be able to work anyway. Not with this weighing down on me. Not with the images flashing in my mind. Not with the voices calling for me. Over and over and over. I flop back down on my bed and discard the phone on the nest of pillows beside me. The TV is still running, I notice vaguely, having been left open the night before, though I have no desire nor interest to hear it now. Rose is dead, and it's all my fault. Shoving a pillow over my head, I make an attempt to drift back to sleep again. Anything, just so I won't feel this heavy feeling in my chest. A cheerful voice with a tinge of hesitance greets me when I answer the sudden call.
Hey there! How are you feeling?
Good morning, Becca.
I just want to check on you. I heard the news. How are you doing?
It's as if her question has opened a dam of emotions I've been keeping at bay.
Rose, she...
Shh. It's okay. I know. I'm sorry. I know how much she means to you.
No, you don't understand! This is what I've been telling you guys!
What you've been telling... Alright. Tell you what. Why don't we eat dinner together today? I heard the diner near your office is serving your favorite today. My treat?
No, I'm not at the office! Ugh! Never mind! We're not safe! Not anywhere!
What are you talking about? And don't shout! I was just inviting you to help take your mind off things!
The letter!
This again? Ghosts aren't real, Isabella. They're just stories.
You're always saying that, but look what happened to Rose! I know what I saw!
The police says it's a homicide case.
Didn't you see what's in her room? That's not something another human being would do! Come on, Rebecca! You have to believe me this time!
Isabella, I know you're in shock, but you have to wait for the authorities' findings. You can't just make assumptions based on some stupid letter you picked up somewhere.
You're still not going to believe me, even if someone else already died, no?
You know that's not what I'm trying to get at.
What if Zach comes next? Or Ashton? Or you? This isn't some criminal you can just gun down or put to jail. Did you see what she did to Rose? We're all completely powerless against her, and you still won't listen!
Isabella, enough already. Where are you anyway? At home? Of course you're at home. I'm coming over.
Forget it. The same. They're all the same no matter how much you warn them. I let the phone slip off from my grasp and turn my attention to the news. Never mind that Beck is still on the line. She's never going to listen anyway. They never will. I'm all alone in this. At the end of the day, no matter how gloomy the headlines are, it's still about
The Police Department continues its search for the following reported missing people.
Hold on a second. Missing? Aren't they? Still, I've got to check. Frantic, I open my laptop. The loud tapping of my fingers against the keys fills the room for the rest of the day as I look through everything. The background about the place, its history from the current owners, and a list of employees hired under BRC. The night has fallen by the time I finish going through my copies of the documents and our database. Isabella Santos holed herself in her apartment the whole day after the devastating news of her mentor's death. More disappearances were reported that morning, most of them faces she was familiar with. She ended up having an argument with Rebecca Gills and ultimately refused Lauder's invitation for dinner. And I'm right, of course I am. BRC may have a lot of staff, they may have a lot of agents hired under the company, but I'll remember those faces anywhere. After all, they're also part of the crew that worked with us in preparing the mansion for their open house. Then the letters... No, that can't be. I hope it's not what I'm thinking. My train of thought gets cut off when arms envelop me from behind. I can't help but laugh. When Becca says she's going to do something, you can be sure she'll do it.
You didn't have to come over, you know. You have classes tomorrow, don't you? And I'm sorry, okay? I didn't mean to yell. I just didn't want what happened to Rose to happen to you, Zach, and Ashton. I wouldn't forgive myself. I think I figured out something too. Listen, Rebecca, sorry. I need to answer that. I've skipped work today. Rose is gone and my boss is probably beyond furious. No doubt that's him calling.
She doesn't budge. Is she still angry? The phone's still ringing in the background.
Rebecca? What's gotten into you?
Dots. And that is the end of Chapter 1, Isabella's chapter of the Death Route. All the characters are going to end up dying, and Isabella's just the first. Thank you for watching, and if you like, subscribe and like the video, and just comment, leave me suggestions, and yeah. That's about does it. Thanks for coming out.